Morning, people. It is Tuesday, the 19th of December. Welcome to TDA, the day after, your favourite news platform and the home of popular culture as defined by the culture. And I'm one of your lovely hosts, my own royalty.
And they call me E-Man, the pro-black activist, TDA producer and news analyst, melanin jam-packed.
That is right. How is everybody this morning?
Can't complain, man.
Love that.
Can't complain. How are you?
I'm good, blessed and highly favoured.
We thank God.
I feel really good, actually. I'm great mood. Brent, how are you, sir?
I don't know. I don't like the fact that the chair's empty over there.
Empty chair. We don't like that, do we?
No.
Are you sure this man must be here today?
He said
'Cause he was talking a lot.
tomorrow.
Oh, was he?
I saw him yesterday night.
Well,
And he said,
I tried
"See
to
you
help you, brother.
tomorrow."
So, yeah, that's fair. But we've got a packed show today. We're going to be jumping around. I feel like it's the last week. We might as well do as we please.
Oh, for sure.
We've had a whole year of consistency. Can we get horns for ourselves, please, Brent?
We have been consistently lat.
Excuse me.
Sorry, hold
Sorry,
on.
sir. We'll get to that afterwards. But no, like in terms of showing up, I didn't say showing up on time. I said we showed up 5 days a week, the whole year. I love this for us. And we went the whole year without a glitch.
Yes.
This is actually our official first full year of TDA. So yeah, it was a lot of breaks last
Is that
time.
the glitch?
There was no glitch of stopping. The personal glitches.
Okay.
Listen, life is gonna life. There was personal glitches. But in terms of like glitches that had to stop the production of the show,
Yeah.
there was none of that, which is fantastic. So, love that for us.
Long may it continue, man.
Well, let's see next year. We're great next year. We start on time. Next year we'll show up and show up on time. And yeah, but I say all of that to say I forgot why I started. Oh, that's what I was saying about the order of the show today. So yeah, basically we're going to be all over the place quite a bit. So we're going to do headlines, going to do a bit of this, a word on road, headlines again, people's journal, up, down, everywhere, but just follow us. Okay, follow us because we've got a special guest today as well. And even that's going to be a whole thing. We're not serious today, essentially. Quite a long story short. We're not serious today. So follow us on this lovely journey of TDA, man. But let's get into our first headlines.
All right.
All right, so our first headlines, right? The chair of the Commons Foreign Affairs Committee has said that Israel has gone beyond self-defense and lost the moral authority in its war with Hamas.
Is that right?
People seem to be changing their tune now, man.
I keep telling people.
On every side.
Listen, whenever I see the government, all these governments standing up to support a particular nation,
Yep.
it's a red flag for me. So when all of them were like, oh, we stand with Israel, I said, why?
Yeah.
What are you gaining from all of this? And then because all the protests and all the stuff that's going on, and now they can actually see it's giving genocide, now everyone's like, oh, you're that taking too far. But they had the support.
Yeah.
But you've made Israel feel so ballsy that they're even telling you, well, if you don't want to support us, then I don't really care.
It's true.
So y'all did this. Well done.
Yes. Well, the Tory MP, Alicia Kearns, she was speaking to the BBC and she said that she thinks Israel has broken international law and risks increasing support for Hamas amongst Palestinians.
Is that right?
She said that bombs don't obliterate an ideology and neither can a stable state be construed from oblivion.
Are they all right?
Yeah, that's what she said. Pardon me. Can a stable state be constructed from oblivion, I should have said.
Okay.
Former Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has also criticised Israel's tactics, and he said, writing in the Daily Telegraph, that he said Israel's legal basis for military action in Gaza was being undermined and warned its government was making the mistake of losing its moral authority alongside its legal one. Asked if she agreed with Mr. Wallace that Israel has damaged its standing with its conduct in Gaza, Ms. Kearns told BBC Radio 4's World at One, I think, unfortunately, it has. International humanitarian law, in my view, has been broken. Next headline, and councils in England are warning that they will struggle to balance their budgets next year despite a rise in funding. Remember, was it just yesterday we were chatting about councils?
It was.
Yeah. The government has announced that they will give, they will have £64 billion to spend next year. assuming they all hike council tax by the maximum amount.
Oh, is that right?
Can you imagine?
It wasn't okay.
They're all crazy, man. Ministers argue that this represents a 6.5% rise on this year and will account for rises in inflation. But councils have warned that they will still need to make cuts next year to cover rising costs. Authorities also say that they are struggling to cope with rising demand for services they legally have to provide, such as social care. Since 2020, 7 councils have declared themselves effectively bankrupt after they were unable to balance their budgets, including 3 this year alone. And our last headline, kind of linked to the same, to the previous headline, I should say, and this is about Michael Gove. So he's come out and he's threatened to take action against councils that miss deadlines to submit their housing plans in a speech on Tuesday. Well, this is what he's planning to do today, in fact, right? And this particular speech is designed to highlight the government's commitment to build new homes across England. The Housing Secretary will say that he will call out local authorities that fail to publish their future development plans with a threat to intervene if necessary. However, Gove will also confirm that the government is watering down housing targets, a move that industry sources said will have a dampening effect on building across the country. A source at the Department for Levelling Up Housing and Community said, "We have been clear that the government is on the side of the builders and not the blockers. Councils must play their part and deliver the homes this country needs without concreting over the countryside. The Housing Secretary has already told councils that they need to step up, and we are providing a lot of support to help them do so. So those that continue to drag their feet can expect to face government intervention." Gove's speech caps a year-long consultation into the government's national planning policy framework, which Gove hoped would kickstart house building in England, but which he has had to rewrite under heavy pressure from backbench Conservative MPs.
Okay.
And that's it for the headlines.
Well, just like the UK government, we're all over the place too. So let's get into Word on Road. Okay, so we come with some women in sports type news. So my first, bit of news, gossip, tea, whatever you want to call it, is about a guy called Anthony Edwards. I didn't know about this man until yesterday because the exchange between him and and a former acquaintance, sexual acquaintance, I might add, was absolutely hilarious to me. I just thought, what kind of foolishness are we still doing? So basically, he's an American basketball player. He plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that's lovely. Lovely black man. Young black guy. How old is he? Let's see. He's 22. 22 years of age. Oh, he's even born in the same month as me, 3 days after me. Okay, that's fantastic. So basically, here's what's happened, right? So a girl that I guess he was seeing something in, basically has called him out, releasing text messages between each other because they were linking. And I don't know how many times that in society we have to keep making the same mistakes. Like, I'm one of those people where I like to learn from other people. Like, if someone around me or someone makes a mistake, I take from their lesson. There's no need for me to go through that L myself. There's no need for it. Anyway, this lovely man decides that he and this woman, because they're both to blame, decide that they want to go through the L together. So anyway, cut long story short, he's got a girlfriend, first of all. He's got a girlfriend, and his girlfriend is currently pregnant. Beautiful, lovely woman. Beautiful girl. But I reckon that the girlfriend being pregnant, being announced, is why the side piece said, "Hey, excuse me here." Because this is what you had told me in my text messages is different to the bump I see on that woman. I'm going to get into it. So cut long story short, the woman that he was seeing on the side, his sexual acquaintance, got pregnant. This was, from what I can see, I reckon this was like November last year or something like that. So she was pregnant, and she showed him. When I tell you, they're both funny people, very funny. The both of them, characters, and they're getting the day they deserve. So basically, she sends him a picture of the clear blue when it says pregnant, yeah? This guy replies saying, "Hell no, I can't do this." That was when I knew I'm interested in this story, because I said, "What?" She said, "I have an appointment on 27th. He said, "Hell no, I can't do this." As in, that was all he said. So she was like, "So now what? What a great response." He said, "Get a abortion, LOL." which is an abortion. You know, sometimes you people sleep with very silly men, and I just don't know the standards you have for yourselves. But anyways, he says, get abortion, LOL. She says, this is where it starts, a trigger warning on this, yeah. Well, So anyway, she says, honestly, I had an abortion with my son around 2 years ago, and I regret it every day. He says, man, you can't force the kid in the world. You don't know what it is yet. So she said, can you imagine telling somebody, I have trauma from getting an abortion 2 years ago with my son, which I'm going to say as well before people start to judge her and say it was late. No, you can find out gender of babies very, very early, blah, blah, shut up. So anyways, imagine him saying, yeah, but first of all, this don't count because you don't know the gender yet. So technically, you're not really attached like that. Very silly interaction. Then she says, that's not the point. I said I had an abortion 2 years ago and I regret it. He says, yeah, but I don't want a kid. Then she says, then it's something about like, you know, whatever it's called. She said, being cool to you is just going to get an abortion by myself and you not doing shit and going about your day. That's being cool to you. Obviously, you've been through this before just by your reaction. He's not a man of many words. And that's how you know a man don't like you. He says, I will send you money to help you out. I also think, by the way, apart from the girlfriend being pregnant, his actual girlfriend being pregnant, I don't think he ever cleared the check. So I think, because she had a screenshot of a pending payment, so I don't know if he ever cleared the check. So there's that. So she said, I didn't ask for it, but okay. She's an OnlyFans model, I believe as well. You just don't want a baby. Is that why you're saying all of this? Because I've been cool with you. He says, I don't want kids. So if seeing the girlfriend pregnant, it's like, I thought you didn't want kids. But I always tell women, men as well, actually, because hella men I've told I don't want a relationship. Do you know what it is, yeah? Whenever someone tells you something, the with you is always silent. So him saying, I don't want kids, sis, with you. When you move to somebody or when you're interested in someone and they're like, oh, I'm not interested in a relationship, with you. I hope this don't come back to bite me. Anyway, to be fair, I just ignore messages anyway. But, so she's like, then he says, yeah, this is what I always find funny. I always find it funny when people are doing very stupid things and then they bring in, let's handle this like grown adults. Because grown adults, first of all, obviously a grown adult in a committed relationship will not be sleeping with somebody else, but that's that anyway. But a grown adult would have taken the right precautions to ensure you were having safe sex. A grown adult would have made sure contraception was in the play. But you lot didn't. So anyway, she's like, I'm not trying to force you to be a dad, to a baby that you don't want. I just don't like abortions. That doesn't make me wrong. If you really don't want to do this, then fine. I won't force you kind of thing. Then he's like, just take the pills. Then she says, you don't care about anyone but you. Oh, duh. She says, he said, you got the money. What's the hold up? Because now you're going to make it a problem. And they just go back and forth about whether there's a problem or whatnot. She then sends him some kind of video. She basically sends him a video of her actually physically taking the pill, right? Then he just ignores her and all sorts, and then the whole thing, and then she's like, get your attorney. I think the attorney was to sort out the money. I don't know. It's just a whole bunch of foolishness anyway. It's just a whole bunch of foolishness. She shows someone. I don't think that she got paid, to be fair. So I don't know. But anyways, cut long story short, he's issued an apology. Oh, also another part that was very stupid to me. So while he's saying to her to get an abortion and whatnot, he don't want a baby. He's saying this and that. She's out here sending paragraphs back to a man who's not reading it clearly. She generates an AI baby.
What?
She generates, yeah. She puts together a picture of him and a picture of her, gets a baby out of it. You know them little baby avian that whole time. Like, you're so weird for doing that, by the way. But anyways, she generates an AI baby, what the baby could potentially look like according to AI, sends it to him and says, look how cute though.
She's not
he
serious.
He airs it. He says, send the video. It's like, as in the video of her taking the pill. Because you know what it is like, and this is why I said like it's just both of them are eggs in this situation, because at the end of the day, yeah, I mean I feel like as a man it's irresponsible for you to be having sex and not taking the right steps to make sure your baby doesn't come out of it. I mean obviously don't cheat, but there's that anyway. But also as well, as a woman who respectfully, not fair and whatnot, but you're gonna be stuck with a baby. And I'm using the word stuck for a reason. Because the baby's a blessing to whoever wants the baby. There's that. But you're going to be the one stuck with the baby. So, ma'am, be FFR. Now, I don't know how many times we have to see these stupid scenarios play out time and time again. Anyways, neither of them get any kind of sympathy for me. But he did come out with a statement. Obviously, he plays, he's a public figure of sorts. So he said, I made comments in the heat of a moment that are not me and that are not aligned with what I believe. Sorry, this is the first time I'm reading the statement. I didn't know. He said, I make comments in the heat of a moment that are not me and that are not aligned with what I believe and who I want to be as a man. All women should be supported and empowered to make their own decisions about their bodies and what is best for them. I'm handling my personal matters privately and will not be commenting on them any further at this time. Whatever. That's what I have to say. But this man, I hope he listens to Dr. Umar, because that's the second person I'm going to talk about today. Dr. Umar's out here promoting love, love and light and peace and all that great stuff. But particularly to black couples.
Big up, Dr. Umar.
I like that for them because I didn't watch the full thing because Dr. Umar does this thing where he says things 3 times.
Yes, it does.
Pisses the shit out of me. It pisses me off. Because I talk fast as well, please just deliver your message. I reckon those lives could be half in duration. The time could be cut down if he just went straight to the point. But I guess he does that because technically that's how people can retain information and whatnot. But people aren't retaining enough, Dr. Umar, will be honest with you. There is that. But anyways, so he talked about a few couples. Talked about Tiana Taylor and Iman Shumpert. Talks about Cardi B and Offset. I reckon that was probably what made him talk about it. Talks about Remy Ma and Papoose as well. Talks about Deion Sanders and Tracy. Talks about Tia Mowry and Corey. Just black couples that have really been breaking up this year, essentially. I know the other day he was bigging up Megan Good, but I just swiped. Sorry. Dr. Umar, I'm not doing this with you. So I just swiped the hell out of that video. But basically, he's talking about all that kind of stuff. And he was essentially, because I was looking at the video and I think, because whenever people are going to advise couples and say to couples, oh, mend it, bring it back together, I just always think we're not the ones in the relationships. And I think that's part of the problem because a lot people get support when they're engaged. They get a lot of hype around them and stuff like that. But then when they get married, people just kind of leave them to it to figure out. And I think that's where there's never really that kind of community of not mentorship, but just that kind of community support when it comes to people in their marriages. And it becomes a thing of, oh, keep everything private. And then even when crazy things, abuse and stuff are going on there, people are just quiet about it. I feel like with relationships and marriages, there needs to be more community support where we don't just leave people to figure it out because marriages are difficult, relationships are hard, but also everyone's going through it. Do you get what I mean? But when everyone is silent, everyone can't help everyone. So I think it was really good, really good. Parts of that I did watch was when he was saying to the guys to kind of just take lead in terms of their homes and how no relationship is perfect and whatnot, but you have to kind of be intentional about working on it and stuff like that. But big up Dr. Umar for that. I thought that was really, really positive. Thanks for letting me know, Iman. And if you want to watch the full video, it is on his Instagram, but it is very positive. I like positive news and whatnot. But someone that's not so positive for, however, one could really just say, person, you know me, and people get the day they deserve. I will say that I was shocked by this. So obviously Jonathan Majors has been trending since yesterday. Well, first of all, y'all are weird. Y'all are weird, and misogyny has done a number on you guys. Jonathan Majors is verdict came out, yeah. I go in my trending section. Who's trending? Megan Good. I said no. I think people are finished. People are finished. And she was getting cooked. I said, excuse me, was she the one who did anything? I'm not saying, sis, I'm shy for her. I've expressed that. Yep. I'm shy for her. But who am I to tell a girl not to be my man? That's good for her. But I just felt it was very, very wild that he's been found guilty of what he's been found guilty of. But sis is the one getting cooked. Anyways, take that up with you guys and your therapist. But anyways, so Jonathan Majors has been found guilty of reckless assault in 3rd degree and guilty of harassment. So there were four charges against him that the state had against him essentially. And yeah, so it was 4 and 2 of them were to do with intentional assault, intentional harassment. So he wasn't found guilty of the intentional side of things. But actually no, he was, the harassment one is intentional, basically. But yeah, he was found guilty of reckless assault. So reckless assault is what, his ex, Jabari Grace, when he injured her finger whilst trying to grab his phone. So that's like it's reckless because he didn't intend to do that. He was trying to get his property back. Yeah. But what happened did happen. So yeah, man. And he's facing up to 1 year in jail, man. 1 year in jail.
He ain't going in prison.
And he's I reckon, to be fair, if he hasn't got prize and stuff like that, he might just end up doing community service and stuff like that. Yeah. But he was sentenced in February the 6th. And following that news, Marvel's dropped him. It's such a shame, man, because I think this is a good lesson because with Jonathan Majors, the image of him was that he was this lovely, like, chilled guy, very nice, very people. Like, he was trying to be the new Denzel, and you can't fake a personality that you don't have. Because remember when the news broke, people within the industry saying from his theatre days, he's always been an aggressive person and coming out with stuff. Like, people that have worked with him personally came out with, like, testifying that basically, no, that this is the man's character. And obviously, then he needs to fire his lawyers. If he's going to appeal, first of all, he needs to fire his lawyers because his lawyers are the reason why everyone knew that the relationship was abusive, because they're the ones who entered in the text messages where he allegedly caused head injury to his ex and then was telling her not to go to the hospital. And then when she said she has to go to the hospital because it's a head injury, he's now threatening that he's going to kill himself. His lawyers did that. They did that. And I feel like they're the ones who've had him doing all these little stunts in the park and shit. Of course.
So, Megan Good, do you expect her to stay with him? Because a lot of people think that she was just on his arms for the PR.
Like a PR relationship.
So do you think she's going to stay with him? That's the first one. Secondly, with a man whose character is deemed to be abusive in the manner in which it was purported with the previous stuff. Yeah. Given that this trial was worldwide, given that some of us now believe he's a particular thing, would he change? Can he change? If she stays with him a year down the line, 6 months down the line, would that same character manifest? So can you change?
I do think you can, you know. So he was in the army. I feel like people that are in the army, they have PTSD, all that kind of stuff that causes... It's a lot of trauma, and you need... Because when you leave the army, well, ideally, they kind of offer you support and stuff like that, because the things you've seen are not normal, the things that you've experienced are not normal, all that kind of stuff. He also kind of had like a... He didn't have like the best family... like in childhood, if that makes sense, in terms of like, they were always moving from like one army barracks to another army barracks to another army, like, so there was no stability in that. And I think all those things is why, and obviously with black men as well, black men are not really taught how to express their emotions properly. And so a lot of it manifests in anger and stuff like that. I do think he can change, but I think he's got to be, I don't think it's change that he needs to be doing with a girlfriend by his side. I think it's change that he needs to focus by himself to sort out and like do therapy, do anger. He clearly has some anger issues, allegedly. But I feel like I do think he can change. Because I think it's more of a controlling, he's got like a controlling behavior, which is what the other people that have worked with him have said, that he's got a controlling, aggressive temperament. And I do actually believe that can be changed. So I feel like that can be changed. Megan Good, ideally I don't think she should stay with him, because her show on Amazon Prime has just been picked up for season 3. Ma'am, you are doing great things with that show. You might not want to take this. But I feel like ideally, I don't think she should have. I don't think it's a good image. I don't think it's a good image that she was with him all through the court time. Because also as well, like people with those kind of traits that he allegedly has, can be manipulative. So when he's gone to court with this massive Bible every day and this special like wooden cup. I don't know if the cup is like good luck or something, but he's been very strategic in coming up, in looking like MLK, in looking like, well, whoever he wants to look like. Do you get what I mean? So I personally feel like I don't think it was good for her to have been by his side, being his Coretta and being his Michelle Obama, whilst he was dealing with all this stuff. Because I personally couldn't see, because as much as that's his ex here, that's still that woman's story and that's her experience with him. So I can't be, personally, if I'm with a guy and he's been accused of domestic violence and whatnot, I cannot be in the courtroom supporting you, because essentially my support of you is me saying, oh no, like, he's not that, but I cannot speak to what another woman experienced with you in a relationship. I don't even speak to what my friends are like in relationships, because people are different in relationships to that your experience of everybody is different with their significant other kind of thing. So I personally think it's irresponsible. So if I was her, I'm not waiting around. But again, we've seen her next to him through the entire time, crying when he's crying, doing whatever she's doing. They're setting up little things where he's fixing her hair just to make him look like this lovely, tender boyfriend. I reckon she's actually gonna stay. And I'm Shafa, because you left a whole ass divorce. You came back to the streets for this? So yeah.
So this is why I asked the question, because I believe that a controlling, manipulative, egotistical narcissist would carry a Bible and a wooden cup in there, right?
A big Bible,
and stage acts left, right, and center, right? Mm-hmm. So he would also see this as a miscarriage of justice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. Because Oh, I've even got the statements actually. It's funny you said that, because I reckon they're gonna appeal. Definite. So his lawyer said it is. So what'd you say?
I said definite.
Oh, right. It is clear. So his lawyer said it is clear that the jury did not believe Grace Jabari's story of what happened in the SUV, because they found that Mrs. Majors did not intentionally cause any injuries to her. We are grateful for that. We are disappointed, however, that despite not believing Ms. Jabari, the jury nevertheless found that Mr. Majors was somehow reckless while she was attacking him. Mr. Majors is grateful to God, his family, his friends, and his fans for their love and support during these harrowing 8 months. Mr. Majors still has faith in the process and looks forward to fully clearing his name. So he's definitely trying to clear his name. But I'll be honest, no one cares. No one cares. If Tory Lanez got released tomorrow on account of he won an appeal, no one cares. We've heard what we've heard. We heard you we heard you asking a white woman to be like Martin Luther King's wife and be Michelle Obama. We heard you cussing a white girl for getting white girl wasted. Okay, sir.
Have we seen examples of controlling, manipulative, egotistical maniacs changing their behaviors?
Well, not according to Kanye, no. No, we haven't. Nah. I wish I could think of an example. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one person.
So, if she stays, and 6-7 months down the line, something pops up again, are we having sympathy for Miss Good?
This is interesting, because I was talking about this the other day when people were cussing Cardi, because they were saying to her, when he cheated on you the first time, you stayed there, and so now you're staying and you want empathy, you want sympathy. I will have sympathy. Do you know I will have sympathy? Because when people are in relationships and stuff, you can't tell them nothing. They see what they see, they experience what they experience. And sometimes people think that the person that is being presented to them, so while we're seeing it as that, his character dictates this, if he does it, it's not going to be shocking. We don't know what this man is telling her behind closed doors. Do you get what I mean?
This is why she's turning up to the court every day.
It's just pathetic. But I think as well, though, that's why I would have empathy. I would have empathy for her. I will always have empathy for anyone that is like any sort of abuse or anything like that anyway. Because again, there's a reason why people don't leave abusive relationships. Because the ones who are controlling them, it's a skill. It's a skill they've mastered. Like it's a crazy thing. Like there's people that literally have. I told you guys I worked in a domestic violence charity, and they will have everything set up for them. Like they will have an escape plan. They will have everything, but they just can't leave because again, it's the controlling of the mind. It's crazy when you look into it and when you read about it, like psychologically and stuff like that. But I would have empathy for her though. But
is there any scenario
where I wouldn't?
Where you wouldn't?
No.
Okay.
Because like, what's an example of a scenario?
Oh, I don't mind.
I can't think of any.
How about if you find out she got hired?
I wouldn't be shocked by that though, because it already looks like she was hired. I kind of believe that. I don't believe she left that lovely Christian man, Devon. And again, I don't know what he's like behind closed doors, just to make that clear. But I find it difficult to believe that she got a divorce and what she wanted to go for, the first thing she was going to go for was a man on trial for domestic abuse. That's got to be some kind of PR. But the thing is, she hasn't won anything.
Suppose she's like that not Ariel.
Halle Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she likes them type of guys. But she's painted a PR image
That she's not that.
that she's not like that.
Oh, like Jonathan did. Oh, you're saying would I feel bad for her then?
Yes. If we find out that she's not the girl that you think she is.
Abuse is still abuse, man. Abuse will always be abuse to me because again, like, abuse is deep, man. Because whatever it is, even if she's not that, even if she likes toxic and whatever it is, that's still not reason for her to be abused. Like, I don't ever believe anyone caused abuse on themselves. Do you know what I mean? Unless they're abusing another person and it's like now it's just fighting. That's different. But even if she likes toxic men and stuff like that, you know, I just see her as she's a broken bird. I might even feel even worse for her. I'm thinking, damn, you damaged.
Suppose she's like Amber Heard.
Oh, lying. Yeah. If you're lying about abuse, of course, that's crazy.
Okay.
I can't have empathy for that. You're lying.
Suppose a person, her character is like Amber Heard.
What was Amber Heard though?
She liked toxicity and she was toxic and she chose that particular relationship and she lied. And
she was abusive.
For a long time, the world didn't think that she was any of those things.
But then did Johnny Depp ever abuse her?
I think both of them had their fair share of back and forth, yeah.
But that's
Yeah, but I don't feel sorry for Amber Heard though.
Yeah, no.
I don't think about her.
All right. Is it because she's what? Not because she's white, obviously.
No, but I don't know Amber Heard because actually I follow Megan Good. I like Megan Good.
This is it.
But I think even with because you know what it is with Jonathan Majors one? I think if he didn't have this whole Grace Jabari thing going on, and Megan Good's situation was like Amber Heard's, where I find out she was like they were in a toxic relationship, and then she came and lied and yeah, I will have no empathy for her. Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. But because now he's got this stain on him, it's a case where it's like you're just like I'm gonna feel sorry for her because again, no one deserves that.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Second?
I hear you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know where it is that the buck stopped.
You're so annoying. But yeah, man, but I'll keep you guys updated anyway. Yeah, his sentencing is 6th of February. If he hasn't got any priors and stuff like that. And obviously, because he's an army guy, you know, like Americans say that seriously.
Oh, he was in the army first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in the army, I believe.
I'm convinced he switches off when you talk.
He what?
I'm convinced.
Oh, he is. Oh, he does.
No.
Because I told you where his family were living and all sorts.
I don't remember, that's why.
You see, I just answered it. It's the God in me. You see, I just answered it.
You didn't say that today, though.
I did. Today.
Moving from base to base.
I literally said I was moving here. Can you imagine? Yeah, but he is. But also the statement from the DA's office. So at the Manhattan DA's office, we are committed to centering survivors in all our work. The evidence presented throughout this trial illustrated a cycle of psychological and emotional abuse and escalating patterns of coercion, far too common across the many intimate partner violence cases we see each and every day. Today, a jury determined that pattern of abuse and coercion culminated with Mr. Majors assaulting and harassing his girlfriend. We thank the jury for its service and the survivor for bravely telling her story despite having to relive her trauma on the stand. But yeah, man, they were delivering for time, boy, because this should have come out on Friday. No, on Thursday even. But yeah, did I say Marvel dropped? Yeah, Marvel Studios basically have dropped him as well. So that's the end of that. He was meant to be a character called Kang. There was a whole thing set up for him and whatnot. And yeah, he's been dropped by Marvel. Obviously, they've been waiting to see the verdict and whatnot. Because they couldn't have dropped him before, I think, his contract. So obviously now that that's happened, they dropped the man. And it's so funny, people are basically saying how, well, first of all, yeah, Black Twitter can't take nothing seriously because I don't understand how memes come up everything. Someone's like, oh, even the strongest man in Marvel couldn't defeat a white woman. I said, all right. So this is where we're going. And then people were like, oh, John Boyega should be the one who now plays Kang. And someone was like, oh, I know you have the details that are contact him. And John, he put up a video of Donkey from Shrek shaking his head. He said, nah, leave me out of it. Obviously, he's spoken about the whole Star Wars stuff and, you know, dealing with racism. I don't think that man is trying to be anywhere near all of that at the moment. But yeah, man. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated anyway on his sentencing. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But he's facing 1 year in prison. Well, he's facing up to a year in prison. But because none of the things are it's like misdemeanor. You might just end up paying a fine and what's it called? Paying a fine and community service and stuff like that. But I will be here to let you know. I'll be here to let you know. But that's it from me. Topic of the day.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Morning.
All right, people. So you've got a special topic of the day today.
Sure do.
And we've got a special guest as well.
Sure
You
do.
know what I'm saying? So we're gonna blend it because it's all linked. You know what I'm saying?
Today, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But first, let's give our guest an opportunity to introduce himself.
Oh, but the mic is like... Sorry.
Yeah.
There we go.
Good. All right, yeah?
Yes.
Good. Morning.
Good morning.
Good
right.
morning. How are you?
Good, thank
I'm
you.
good, man. Just driving that A12 and the A2. It's a nightmare. Blackpool Tunnel. But I'm here.
Can you imagine? They're going to be charging us £4 each way for that soon.
Joking.
I'm disgusted. I need a Starbucks in that place.
You know
You're
what
going
I'm
to
saying?
charge me £4. I need a drive-through of some sorts. But yes, please introduce yourself. Let people know who you are.
Sayce Holmes-Lewis. I run an organisation called Mentivity, which is a mentoring organisation I founded in 2016, which works with young people and mentors young people in schools and supports their families. Been running it for 8 years, but I've been working with young people for 25, so since the age of 16. So I grew up in South East London on the Aylesbury estate. I'm very proud to come from there. But everything I do is centred around young people and the community. So
That's amazing.
Okay.
25 years is a long time. Like doing that from age 16 as well. We're going to get into all of that. But this is a blend. So we have a topic of the day every single day where we just discuss, we discuss things. We like to discuss things on here. But today we're going to do a blend because our topic of the day actually relates to, we really think you'll be helpful in our topic of the day. We want to get, your thoughts and opinions and ideas and stuff on our topic of the day. Cool. So this is like a topic of the day / interview segment.
all right.
So because it's still an interview, technically, you get to play the game all our lovely interviewees, our lovely guests play.
Okay.
And it's basically a general knowledge segment. Some of them are this or that questions as well. And it's over 140 beat.
All right.
You just have to answer
Cool.
the question. Yeah.
All right.
Just wait for you to get situated.
And if it is that you don't know the answer to the question, say pass so you can move on to the next one.
All right, cool.
'Cause we're greediness.
Cool.
Yeah, so the more you answer, the higher the points you get.
I like competition. So.
Love that, because we
That's
do
great.
have a scoreboard. So I'm really rooting for
All
you.
right. Who's at the top?
Lippy.
Cool. That's the man to beat then.
There you have it. You're too funny,
I ain't got the questions.
Okay, you don't have the
Okay, yeah, I have.
You got it? Okay.
Okay.
Brent, are you ready, sir?
I'm ready. His mag's ready though.
That's,
It's discombobulated.
yep.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
You gonna start, yeah?
Am I gonna start?
Yeah.
No, no,
Because you're so ready,
That's the
innit?
easiest thing.
no. Go on, this way.
I was giving you the easiest one,
Is it?
Yeah, from the top. You're just in the preference ones.
Okay, come then.
So silly. Stacey, you ready?
I'm ready.
Love it. All right.
All right, let's go, Brent. 3, 2.
3, 2, 1.
Movies or documentaries?
Documentaries.
Lome is the capital of what African country?
Pass.
Antonio Guterres is the head of what organization?
Pass.
Writing or reading?
Reading.
Mozambique is located in which part of Africa? North, south, east, or west?
West.
What's the main ingredient in hummus?
Chickpeas.
Home or abroad?
Abroad.
What Caribbean country does Trevor McDonald originate from?
Trinidad and Tobago.
What's the capital of Brazil?
See it change, I'm going to say Brasilia.
You go for things.
Battery dad.
What Afrobeat artist featured Thames on the hit song Essence?
Wizkid.
What planet in the solar system is closest to the sun?
Mercury.
Gym or good diet?
Good diet.
What is 2 million times 0 plus 24?
2,024,000.
Okay.
Quick maths.
Quick maths. It was wrong though.
Yes, it was.
Was it?
24
2 million times 0.
Mm-hmm.
You're under
Plus
pressure.
24. That's-
See, I
that's
did the
how you
same.
get you.
You know, I went on the chase, and did the same thing. literally.
Oh my gosh, did you? How was that?
I was mad. I had the worst team.
Really?
I was the only one that got No, I didn't get through. No one got through, and I had to do the final chase by myself.
What chases did you have?
The Beast. Yeah, it was a madness.
Is it as intense as it is watching it, or do
It's
they?
more
like,
intense.
Really?
More intense.
I
You
thought it
know
was
when
like
you're
a
at
car-
home, you're watching yeah, I can smash this, I can do this.
Yeah,
I
I
got
think
20.
that.
I could do this myself. Literally, when I was there, even though the ones I should know, I got wrong.
Because you get pressure in it.
Yeah, literally. So it's mad.
Do you study for it?
I got good general knowledge pretty much, so I didn't really have to. What can you study? It's a random question, so it's just life.
In my mind, someone should have created like a book of like the chase questions, and, and they should just recycle the questions.
And then you just get people that are gonna rinse it, and then
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, Umar, over to you.
Yes. So today's topic of the day is this question here. That I feel like as I said, you probably have a great answer for this, right? So, are we delusional, hoping for significant changes within a system that did not factor us in as equals? Right? I'll be more specific here as well, right? Does the justice system need a complete overhaul, or can better representation remedy its failings?
It's a good question. I'll definitely reframe it. The justice system, I don't call it the justice system. I call it the criminal legal system.
Okay.
So I actually got that from some of my colleagues, Temi Mwale, Katrina French, and they really helped educate me around that and the criminal legal system, because only certain people realise justice. And again, within that system, it's designed to keep us down. So I think we can be delusional to some point, but the issue that we have is that we're here. So we've got to fight within that system. So we've got to showcase self-determination, showcase, aspects of pride in terms of who we are, and show them that we're not going to have it, because we can't. So I think it's an ongoing fight. It's very draining. I know a lot of people have been doing this work for a lot, many years, and it takes its toll on you, man. So I would say that to some part, if you don't understand what you're up against and you're still trying to fight, then you're delusional. But if you know what you're up against, then you're not delusional. But you've got to fight. We've got to fight for our own self-determination. We've got to fight for our rights, our basic human rights. So yeah, it depends on your standpoint and how you see the system. So yeah.
I was going to say, before I answer, just so the listeners know, they can call in if they want to. The number is pinned in the chat if you want to. But no, I don't think it's delusional.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's delusional because times change and laws, even though it can take forever, do change and society changes. And sometimes like the law gets to a point where it reflects where society's at. Like when I think of like marriage, when I think of like divorce, when I think of even like gay marriage, even women being allowed to drive, all that kind of stuff, how the land was set did not have those things in play. Well, who knows? But it didn't have those things in play. Do you get me? So I don't think it's delusional.
Okay.
But I think it takes a lot of work. And I think, like you said, I think it's draining, especially when you live in a place where they know, let's just say UK, for example, right? Britain, for example, there's a lot of different cultures that live here, even though we make the smallest number. And a lot of the way we live reflects the fact that there's different cultures that live here. However, it's as though the originals from the land don't want to accept that.
Yeah.
And I think something like that is what makes it difficult and draining, because realistically, like it's the law should be updated to reflect the reality that we live in, but it wouldn't be.
But why is it? You've got to ask yourself why.
Exactly.
And again, these laws were made with who in mind? White elder men.
Yeah.
And it's a Eurocentric mode of thinking.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not looking at it from an inclusive standpoint. So these laws benefit certain people.
Yeah.
So those laws, again, if you've got to challenge them. They're not going to change because people feel, oh, you know what? I'm going to give you some of your human rights.
Not, yeah.
It's because somebody did something to stand up against the system and say, you know what? I want my rights. And if you're not going to give them, I'm going to take them.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, to this day. So for me, fighting within this system, we have to do it because we can't just think about ourselves. We've got to think outside of ourselves and our children and the next generation. So the people that did the work before us, like you said, Trevor McDonald, for example, seeing him on TV when I was young was like inspirational. So imagine what that did for so many other people that weren't able to get onto TV.
Yeah.
So again, we've got to understand that he was fighting a fight that we didn't see and we didn't understand. And there's so many people in terms of the civil rights movement in this country that were doing so much and are not even known to the younger generation. So they don't even have a foundation to build upon because they don't have any pride linked to that foundation.
That's a word.
Do you feel like things have actually improved though So if you go back to let's say
That sounds like police. That's what they always are.
Exactly.
Yeah, things have improved, though, right? I think it depends on from what perspective.
Okay.
We again, from our perspective, you know, I'm 40 years old, and from what I've seen, certain areas of life have improved, but also that it's improved because I've worked on myself to not allow these outside influences to impact me.
Okay.
So when I was younger, if someone called me the N-word or whatever and was racist, then it would actually hurt me because I didn't know how to overcome it or didn't have the mechanisms or coping mechanisms to deal with it. Now, if someone calls me that, if it doesn't impact my life chances, doesn't impact my work, my life, then that's your problem. That's your ignorance.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow you to bring my emotions or, you know, bring me down. So it just depends how you look at it.
Is that then a better approach, like in terms of fighting against the system? Maybe understanding we will never be part of the system, so let's just work on ourselves and do something for self.
Yeah, I think we have to. I think we have to take responsibility for ourselves. If we don't do that, then we can't rehabilitate. You've got to look after yourself before you can look after others. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup, so you've got to build yourself up. And I think that's really important. Like for us, we are recovering from generational trauma, you know, 500-600 years, and this is in our DNA. So we're still recovering. So when you look at our culture and we look at what's going on, some aspects of it we love, are amazing, we can celebrate. But other aspects we're like, why do we actually do that? Why do we actually like defame ourselves? Why do we put ourselves down? Because we're outwardly expressing what's within us. So we have to go through that process. You know, it's like therapy. When you start therapy, at first you pretend like, yeah, I'm all right, doesn't work, yeah, cool. And then when you start getting deeper, you start realizing, wow, there's a lot of shit I got to deal with, certain language. So you literally have to express yourself.
Yeah.
So when you express yourself, it can manifest yourself in so many different ways. But again, it's not always going to be positive because a lot of that needs to come out.
Yeah.
So over time, you get to that point where, right, I've released all this trauma now. Now, how do I look at myself? How do I look in the mirror and actually love myself and support myself? And that takes a lot. You know, not everyone can do that. So we've got to teach that, especially young people from a young age.
Where did this? Obviously, you mentioned earlier that you pretty much started this journey from like 16.
16, it's young.
So where did that passion come from? Why at 16 did you say to yourself, you know what, I need to do something about this?
There was a number of factors. I'll be real. I grew up on the Osby estate, one of the largest housing estates in the whole of Europe at that point. I'm the oldest of 7 children, so there's a lot of responsibility there. My mum has been a teacher before she qualified as a teacher. She loves community. She loves bringing people together. So I got to that point at the age of 16 where I realized that people looked up to me, not just in my household, but also outside and the youngers as well. So I loved football, and I loved refereeing and coaching. Anything linked to football, I was on. So I literally was put on a referee course by one of my mentors, a guy called Mr. Hanson, Devon Hanson, who was my teacher at Kingsdale School. I went to Kingsdale in West Dulwich. And literally that's how I got into working with young people, was through football. So, but also my mum comes from a family of educators. Okay, so literally it was just stepping into that pretty much and just trying to support people through what they love. And it just kind of just grew from there. So yeah, I was just inspired by so many different people and got into football because of Ian Wright. You know, when I saw Ian Wright at the age of 8, like my dad just left the household. I didn't have that role model. I didn't have anything. I was the oldest now of 4 children. I was just like, right, there's a lot of pressure on me. And football was my way out. You know, football was my therapy. So when I went onto that pitch and scored goals, I felt good. But when I came off that pitch, I didn't feel good. So I just tried to play football as much as I could. And that was really the driving kind of passion behind me getting into football and working with young people. Without football, without Ian Wright, I don't do what I do. Without my mum, you know, influencing me, supporting me, I don't do what I do.
Amazing. You mentioned in earlier about if someone called you, like the way you would react, say someone called you an N-word, for example, you wouldn't react with anger or like just annoyance. And when did you get that self-awareness not to react that way? Like when did you start working on that?
About 5 years ago. I'll be real with you, about 4 or 5 years ago. Because I started to educate myself more so around that and around the word. You know, growing up, we all used it. We listened to music that has it in, so it just became normal. And I think we're so influenced by America that the way that even growing up here, when we were younger, we didn't use that word. You know what I mean? That was very rare. Now we see young people, we hear young people, everybody's using that word like it's normal because we're influenced by America. So again, for me, it's around that pride. You know, my family always taught me about my history and around what the world was and that alternative history.
Yeah.
But you go through a lot, you know, when you're on the streets and you're on council estates, like you're around different influences. So you just become what you're around. You know, as a young person, you want to be cool. You want to be with the crowd that are cool. So I literally kind of lost myself at certain points, but then I had to really educate myself around that. So like 4 or 5 years ago, when I really started reading around my history and the alternative history I wasn't taught in schools, I realized that I had to stop using that word. You know, just the same way I had to challenge myself in so many different areas because of the work that I do, because I'm a role model for young people. So I had to carry myself in a certain way. And also I have a son who's 17, you know, so, you know, I have to be a role model for him and show him the way in ways that I wasn't shown by my dad when I was younger.
It's really cool.
So Reece, you don't use the N-word no more?
No, I don't use it at all.
What's that just been in the last 5 years? Or?
Yeah, last 5 years, to be honest with you, I don't use it. Again, I was still listening to music. Like I grew up listening to a lot of New York hip hop, like Mobb Deep, Nas, and it was everywhere. So when I'm cussing my son, like, turn that music off, man, there's too much. And then I listen to like Mobb Deep and Nas, I'm like, right, there's actually more in that music than today. Yeah, like, so I can't be a hypocrite. I still listen to the music, but again, I don't use the word.
It's really good.
I want to know more about Mentivity, man. Like, obviously, like you said, you started from 16, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, you started Mentivity 8 years ago, right?
Yeah.
How did you transition into making it like official and actually start supporting and mentoring and coaching?
It was a process, man. Like literally from 16, as I started coaching, I started learning more about myself. I got like my FA level 1 when I was at 18 and just carried on coaching. But I actually played professional football in the Republic of Ireland for about a year. And then I went to Romania after that. But part of my contract in Ireland, I had to coach local children to coach football. So because the number one sport in Ireland at that time was Gaelic football and hurling, pretty much, and soccer, as they call it over there, was the number one. So we used to go into the local schools and raise the profile of football, of soccer. So yeah, literally that's what put me on my path. And then when I came back from Ireland and went to Romania after my contract was ended in Romania, I came back straight to working with young people. So I went into after school clubs for Southwark Council. Then I went to Elton Green as a teaching assistant. So I literally started from the lower levels.
Yeah.
You know, it was very, very difficult. No respect for TAs and people that were from the ends that were trying to do this work, but all the children loved me. And then teachers will be envious because I'm building relationships with all young people. So then they treated you a certain way, you know, like you were a student, I was a young person. So it was difficult, it was a process. And then I just kept, you know, building on my career. I became a full-time sports coach for Southwark Council. So I did that for 6 years, ran the London Youth Games team for Southwark. So during that time, we helped push over 50 players into the professional game. Sick. So the most notable will be Jadon Sancho, Reece Nelson of Arsenal, Tammy Abraham of Roma, Ademola Lookman, Atalanta. Then we've got a young lady, Juliet, who's just signed for Sheffield United. So there's a whole history of young people. So then I was made redundant in 2013. And then I was actually studying at the same time, studying full-time and working full-time. So I was studying youth and community work at University of East London. So that was a madness, doing all that at the same time, playing semi-pro football, being a dad, like it was just crazy. But I had to do it because of the time I wasted when I was young. So then when I was made redundant, I was like, right, I never want to feel like this again. So I started thinking about starting on my own thing. But then I was finishing university, so I started just working part-time. Finished university, then got a job before I finished university as a full-time community sports manager for a football club that I was working for. And then they made me redundant after 15 months. And I was like, no, this is long. So then I literally said, I'm going to use this money to set up this thing that I created when I was at university, Mentivity, which is a play on words, so mentoring via activity, so Mentivity. So so I just literally just went in at the deep end. I just jumped out the plane with no parachute and said, I'm going to do this. If it doesn't work, I can always get another job, but I need to do this for myself. I don't want people to tell me, you know, what I can and can't do. And I've always been that way. So started in January 2016 and literally just put my money into it, had this idea, offered it to a couple of schools that I'd worked at, and then one school took it on board, people referring it that I'd worked at for many years, and then that was it, just started. You know, February 22nd, 2016 was when we had our first group of young men that we worked with, and then we just built it from then. And it's just literally, as I said, building the parachute as you trying to hit the ground. So I didn't really have a real plan, but I had real determination. And I didn't want to be a charity, so I set up as a limited company. And then schools had to buy our services in, rather than us just ask for handouts. Because when I worked for this charity, which I'm not going to say who they are, but when I worked for them, I realised that they were taking money off of our plight, basically. So they were just siphoning funds, and I was like, no, I'm not having this. I'm not going to be a charity. So that's why I did it that way. And it's been a success.
I was going to ask, with the degree, you said it was youth and community work.
So youth and community work with sports development. So I did a combined degree. So it's probably the hardest combination you could do, but it was also the best.
I was going to say, is it, with the youth and community part of your degree, is that realistic to what actually community work takes?
Yeah, literally, I created the whole concept of mentivity when I did a case study on a young person that I worked with probably about 2 years before at the Pupil Referral Unit. So I worked there for 1.5 years, pretty much. So I did this case study, and then out of that case study was literally the offer of mentivity. So I used that as a basis to literally use those theories, because I was good at the work, but I didn't understand the theory behind it. So once I understood the theory behind it, that was it. You know, so I could pinpoint what I was doing and how I could impact those young people. So, but it was a journey of self-discovery, because I had to learn a lot about myself and challenge my own biases as well.
I was going to ask that, like, what biases were present there? Because obviously we see that with medicine, how they say, black people can take pain, and so it's not taken seriously and stuff like that. And like, even, because I studied sociology, and even with that, it's like, certain social groups, they're not as smart as the other ones. And so because of that, teachers don't really pour into those ones. They're not really going to get them the results. So does that show up as well in that degree? Yeah,
it did. And we had to do a lot of like reflective essays and stuff as well. So I did a lot of presentations, and I love doing presentations and seminars and stuff. So it was no problem doing that. But there was one, we had to do a reflective essay on an aspect of our culture, which we need to look into a little bit more. So they were talking around homophobia in Jamaica. So I'm from Jamaica and Barbados. So I had to do a reflective essay on that. And as a practitioner, someone that was working in the community, even though I had certain views, because I've grown up in a Caribbean household and a Jamaican household, our view of that, based on Christianity, that it wasn't, it was, unholy, and that's where we looked at it. So then when I literally had to write this essay, I thought about the language that we use. We play football, and, oh, bro, you're gay. Like every single day, you'd be saying these things. But then you don't know how it might be impacting someone that might be in and around that. So also as a practitioner, I can't be saying that and then saying to young people, okay, well, something else comes up. Okay, that's racism. Yeah, but you called that person gay. So then they're going to challenge me and say, well, that's discrimination. So I'm all right, cool, I can't really say anything. So again, I had to challenge myself around my thinking as a practitioner, as a professional, because I had to hold myself in the highest esteem and highest integrity possible, especially with young people, because that's what they're going to respect.
That's a very good degree.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. 3.5 years at full time was, studying and being a father and everything. But I would do it again, because literally it was, I grew so much during that period.
That's so cool.
So you mentioned about language and stuff. I believe that I saw a clip on your Instagram where he's talking about the importance of language and how narratives are being used to justify how like we're being mistreated in our communities and things of that nature. What would you say is some of the key things that the average person doesn't pick up on, but it's on purpose?
In what context? You're talking about racism, or you're talking about... There's so many different things. There's so many labels that are given to people within society. And I think that's one of the problems. If you then take on that label and then it becomes, almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you go in school, teachers would say to me, you're going to end up in prison. Or some teachers said, you're going to go to university. So it was a massive disparity, but also they're projecting what they think should be for me. So they're saying, you're going to go to university at the age of 18. If I went to university at the age of 18, I would have dropped out within 6 months. I know that for a fact, because it wasn't for me. A-levels, they told me, you should do A-levels. So I chose A-levels when I went to SFX. I went to SFX in Clapham, chose A-levels, A-level P in German. Didn't work for me. I should have done BTEC sports science. So those are the decisions I made based on adults around me. But also when people label you, oh, you're from the Aylesbury estate. If I say I'm from the Aylesbury estate, they look at me like, what's that like? Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, I grew up in the Aylesbury estate. It's like anywhere else. But also around with young people, the way that they're demonized and seen as deviant, especially young black men, the disproportionate nature of things that are happening in terms of crime in London is not an accurate picture of what's happening in the UK. You know, it's a small snapshot of something that's going on. So that's when I was talking to Mark Rowley, the Commissioner for Police. I was saying language is important because you're saying these things around institutional racism, but that's the language that Londoners understand because of the Stephen Lawrence and the Macpherson report. So if you're trying to say, well, it's systemic and I don't agree with that, just agree with it so you can get Londoners on your side and they can get behind you to actually reform the police.
Hear that, Kemi Badenoch?
I didn't want to say her name.
Oh, I've always got time for her, boy.
Pick your battles, man. But language is important, and I think people use language to try and keep people down as well and create this narrative around black deviants, especially young black males. And I don't subscribe to that because I was also, called that. You're deviant because you're a black man or whatever it may be. So, I think it's really important that we reframe language, especially around young people, because there's always an inherent fear of young people. You go back 50 years, it wasn't black young males, it was white young males from working class from East London. The mods, whatever. And then you had chavs and asbos, like it's just labels. And it helps to keep people down, but also some people will live up to that because they don't have anything else that they can really subscribe to in terms of role modeling. So it's a bit of a mad one, but the language is important and we really have to reframe it and challenge these things when people say it. I don't subscribe to microaggressions. They're macro because it's part of a wider system. So when you're saying these certain things, or can I touch your hair or things like that, or saying certain things like, no, you can't. I'm going to challenge you there on the spot. But if people don't have the confidence to do it, then people will get away with it.
How do you find your work with the police, explaining to them these things? Because in a normal day-to-day, say in an office setting, right? So when you said about the little covert things, I haven't called sassy. All I said is I'll get the email to you in 5 minutes. It's like, oh, you're so sassy. And it's like, that is coded language. Yeah. And sometimes trying to explain to people why what they've said is some form of what's Prince Harry's favourite word that time? Racism.
Unconscious bias.
Unconscious bias, yes. So we're trying to explain that to people, they don't understand, or they just don't get it. So how are you able to actually explain stuff to the police about institutional racism and just the way they approach? Because I always find it so interesting because I feel like they're genuinely clueless. When they say they're not racist, they actually mean that. I don't feel like they're trying to gaslight us. They genuinely mean they don't think that they are. So how have you found explaining that, and what's that like for you?
One of the things I've learned from youth work is really important to educate people from their standpoint and where they're at, not where you think they're at. So when you approach situations like racism and institutionalized racism, you have to approach it from the standpoint of where people might be at. So you've got to make it a little bit more generic. So with the training now, which came as a byproduct of me being stopped and searched over 40 times since the age of 14, been assaulted on 3 separate occasions by police. The youngest was at age 14. Brutally beat up at the age of 14. That was actually my way of actually showcasing to myself that I had to overcome this moment. And it took me 25 years to get to that point. After that assault, I literally tried to press charges against the officer, and then it was thrown out by the Crown Prosecution Service. And then 6-7 weeks later, I get a letter on the post summoning me to court as a 14-year-old for assaulting an officer.
No way.
Yeah. So I had to go to Camberwell Court in my school uniform, scared. I was crying. I was thinking I'm going to prison.
That's mad.
And I was in this courtroom and no one looked like me. And then I realised in that moment, I had to take control of my life. So it was like a public order offence or something. It was nothing really. And I left there, but I realised I had to invest in myself because I was on this negative path, like so many of my friends and people in the community. Yeah. So it's been a long journey to get to this point, to educate the police. And that's the motivation to do it. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I believe in this and I have to challenge them, but also showcase to other people that we can hold them to account. So with the training now, I set that up. I got stopped in 2020 during the first lockdown. And then, they tried to just bad me up and call me a drug dealer and all this stuff. And I'm like, do you know what I've done in this area? And then I looked around and I realised that they were kids. They were 23, 24. And then rather than me get angry...
Was it police officers?
Yeah. 23, 24, I saw them before that. Before they stopped me, they stopped 2 boys. So then it was a bit of a madness. So when they stopped me, I was like, guys, come on, this is what I do, and we don't believe you.
You've been so overzealous on your first day.
Listen, proper. So it was crazy. But then I launched that after 6 weeks. I filmed it. It went viral. And then I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna train you guys how to talk to young people. Then I launched it at New Scotland Yard. So really the training is in 4 areas. So I tell them my story to get them to understand my journey.
Yeah.
So, you know, the police interactions, being stopped and searched for so many times, but also how that narrative of police kind of, the outlook of police towards me, but also around racism and how to overcome this. Like, this is a constant and consistent journey you have to overcome. So then the second session, we look at perceptions of the police, but also of the Black British community. How do they see the community? Where does that come from? So routinely when you ask them, you know, where's your learning from the Black community? Yeah, boys in the hood. I'm like, bro, that's South Central LA. That's not Southeast London.
Okay.
So, Top Boy, that's not an accurate representation. Have you actually been in communities? Have you immersed yourself in these communities? Do you understand like culture?
No, sorry, they're dumb. I'm sorry, respectfully. Are you getting your information off TV and media and film, you know?
But you know what? You got to realise that a lot of these officers are not from London. So they're from rural parts of the UK.
Yeah.
So when they're from Dorset or they're from Devon, they don't really have many Black people around. So when they come to London, they had this narrative already in their head. But also there's an inherent fear of Black men and Black people. So when they come here and then they do their first stop and search from Assimilation on the estate or Angeltown, they're just like, right, you know, they're scared.
Yeah, because you can tell they can tell they're nervous sometimes.
Yeah. Because they don't know what's going to come.
What's up, yeah.
So the trading, again, around perceptions is really, really important, how they perceive them and how they are perceived by the Black British community and why. And then in the third session, we look at conscious bias, unconscious bias, but also racism as definitions. And then we get the group to create their own definition so they understand it and they have to own that. And then we actually talk about racism and how it was created. You know, you go back to the Barbados slave code, and then you go back to the Americas and, you know, Slavic people and indentured servants. Like, I give them a whole history around that. And they're just sitting there like, wow, we didn't know, because we're not taught that at school.
Yeah.
So then when I offer them that racism is a social construct, that it was created to benefit white older men. Yeah. That literally white privilege means that you were privileged certain rights, human rights. And that's why people call it white privilege, but they don't know how to articulate it. Then they understand it and they're like, oh. And then we can have conversations around it. So then we actually have really, really good conversations around it. And then the last session, we look at the generational trauma, but how the Met Police have enforced over engaged, so enforcement over engagement. So going back to sus law and what they've done to Black men in particular in a London context and the way that they policed, beat them up, you know, SPG, which was the Special Patrol Group, which is now the TSG. It was the same thing, going around in those big bully vans, picking up Black guys, punching them up, putting them in a cell, no medical attention. Some might die, some might not. Then they release them. Then when you're released, then you've got to deal with the NFs and, you know, it's mad. So again, when we speak about that, they understand the history and give them the context, and they can't argue with that, you know. So you have to give them that context. So that's how I approach it, and the sessions have been so impactful.
You know, how much change does it really bring in? Does it really work? What's it going to do for them?
It's a good question. So really, for me, it's about changing someone in their mind.
Just give us a second.
So it's about in their mind. If they go into a stop and search and think now around, oh, this young person might be a victim, this young person might be exploited, or this is their situation, then they have something in their mind which they can, as a reference point, to try and do something better. I don't think the training's going to change the Met Police. That's not. It's a bottom-up approach. And again, that's why I'm on the London Police Board and trying to do it that way. So I'm doing it. It's almost a sandwich approach. At some point, we've got to meet in the middle. Yeah. So again, I'm not naive. Like, I understand they might be on a training session and then they might go out and call someone, you know, N-word or do a stop and search or whatever it may be. So I'm not naive. But if I can sow those seeds in people's minds for them to teach themselves, then that's my job done.
Morning, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Who is speaking to, please?
It's Philly Petit. How is everyone? Hi.
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? You okay?
Yes, thank you.
Good. So I'm just driving off to work and I'm listening to the show. I'm so grateful. I haven't heard so many people do the same course as me, like youth and community development, which is a really amazing course. And I'm just like in awe that he's taking a step to go on to do his own thing, because I was researching about doing it like what's it called? What do you call it? Like, you know, what is it called? So you know, you've got your charities and your enterprise.
Oh,
I'm thinking about doing an enterprise for myself.
Yeah.
So listening to you and like, you know, how brave you was to do it, it's encouraging me, because I'm currently working in housing. Following me doing that course, I've got into like doing housing. So I'm currently working in housing, but I would love to do my own sort of thing and reconnect with young people. So I just want to say big up to you and like keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. I love hearing your story. So let me let you continue. But I wanted to shout you out.
Thank you.
Say thank you for sharing your story.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Have a nice day,
Bye.
Anne.
Bye.
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 I wanted to ask a follow-up question from what Mark just said about change, right? I feel like I guess I kind of see certain things from an economic standpoint always, right? And my thing is, how much does it, not how much, but what does it cost us, right? So my thing is, if, for example, we do get the change that we're looking for, right? Will it be because we changed ourselves mentally, our identities now erased, we're now assimilated into the system, and so we've been accepted? Or is it because we've actually changed and we've managed to still remain ourselves?
It's a good question. Assimilation doesn't work.
Okay.
It's not going to work because there are real differences between what we want and what other people want in society. So, and I think you touched on economic, standing. I think that's really important because we don't have an economic standing, as a collective.
Yep.
If we say just Black and African Caribbean people, we don't keep our money. We don't work together to make sure that we're educating ourselves. Where did we spend the most money here? In the UK, globally, we spend the most money. Yeah. So again, it's how we change that, in terms of making sure that we're building ourselves up. And if we have economic equity, then we can do a lot more. Yeah. If we're talking about youth clubs, we're talking about spaces, then we can buy our own spaces, with consortiums. Exactly. So we can't keep asking for people for handouts. There's a way that we can do it in conjunction with getting, funding from the charitable sector or whatever it may be. But for us, I think we really have to have a strategy. We don't have a strategy in terms of how we're going to overcome the day-to-day issues within this systemic oppressive system. So once we identify that and we come together as a collective, okay, how are we going to approach education? How are we going to approach housing? How are we going to approach leisure? How are we going to approach health and well-being? Because we have to create our own entities. We've got to have our own schools. We've got to educate ourselves from a standpoint which works for us, which allows us to rehabilitate. We can't keep learning about Henry VIII and Seamus Heaney in English, and there's all these different books. They haven't changed education for a reason. You can't expect your oppressor to educate you on how to overcome their system. They're not going to give you the key. It doesn't make any sense. So we have to do it ourselves. And not enough of us are coming together. Some of us will just want to do it in their silos and not work with others. I don't do that. I've worked with so many different organizations, showcase especially Black men working together in a positive light. I think that's massively important. I have to big up. I know Amani was on here, Amani Simpson. You need to get Justin Finlayson for United Borders if I had him on already. There's so many great people. Ollie Rahman is running Active Communities Network based in Southwark. There's so many great people doing great work, but we're coming together to try to be part of consortiums, and that's what Mentivity is really good at. So I think for us, we have to understand that this system is not designed for us. Let's redesign it. Let's recreate something. Let's think outside the box and create something which we can extract the money that we need and create the resources and create the economy which is going to allow us to do and realize that strategy, in real time. And it's not going to happen potentially in our lifetime, but we've got to sow the seeds. We've got to lay the foundations for the next generation. If we don't do that, then this is why they don't respect. A lot of them don't respect adults because they look at you like, "What are you doing?" Like you keep talking. All you do is talk. So I'm gonna go out here and get this money because you're not helping me to get this money. So that's why these young people are doing what they're doing and why they don't respect certain people in the community. But I know if I go in certain areas and I talk to young people because of what I do, they respect me because I'm actually taking action. I'm trying to support them. So I'm backing it up as well as the talk. But we haven't done enough as adults and previous generations to put ourselves and our young people in a situation where they can flourish. So we've got to look at ourselves and, there's a lot for us to do.
I was going to ask, before the lockdown incident, were you working with the police then?
No.
So how did you get from that situation happening and then to actually being able to then speak to Scotland Yard and then start doing the trainings?
One thing about me, I'm just crazy determined. People tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it just because you told me I can't do it. That's how I've always been as a kid, and that's how I am now. But in that situation, it was education allowed me to think outside the box to create something that they had to take on board because of the noise that I created around it as well. But again, I had to just draw on the system. You have to utilize the system that we're in to actually get what you want. So I went to the local MPs and then I said, look, I'm not having this. Like, this is now on your watch. I need to speak to the chief inspector for this area for stop and search. They lined it up, met with her, said, all right, cool, this is what I want to do. This is the proposal, and just understand that you're paying me for this work. And they were like, okay, yeah. And then because what was going on with MOPAC, the Mayor's Office for Police and Crime, they were doing accountability and transparency, increased accountability and transparency around policing, and there's money for it, there's budget for it. So I knew that. So again, I had to upskill myself and educate myself within that. And like, I didn't know nothing. I didn't know how it works. I didn't know what MOPAC did on a day-to-day basis. I just said, this is what I'm doing, and I don't care how I do it, I'm going to make it happen. So I just pushed it, and I used the media, to really push the narrative as well, and just made it happen, and just haven't looked back since. So I trained the Met Police as well as the City of London Police as well. So across London pretty much. So now we're looking to roll that out across London with the Met Police. The City of London Police are a lot better than the Met Police, even though historically, there's a lot more history around what they've done in communities, but they're more receptive to learning and trying to do things in a different way. So yeah, I have to respect what they're doing and meet them where they're at. There's a lot more that needs to happen. But again, you have to meet people at their standpoint, and then hopefully you can scaffold on that knowledge and grow.
Do you feel the City of London Police are better than the Met Police?
I don't feel any police are better than any police. Police.
But you had an incident with police in City London?
Not particularly, but all police are the same. I told you, I see police.
He sees police in Nigeria. He's like,
I leave the country and I see police, and I feel exactly the same way about these officers that I never seen, a police force that I never had no interaction with. Some of them don't even speak the same language. I feel the exact same way about any police. I told you, policia, Polski, whoever. I don't.
Polski,
Any of them, I can't stand them.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
And you know what it is? It's a weird one, because if you do want change and you want things to change, somebody's gonna have to do the work that you're doing, innit? You know what I'm trying to say? At the same time, when you're like, you might kind of like you say, maybe not in your lifetime, or whatever, but you're never gonna get the complete reform that we're looking for. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then the little bits of change that they do give us to appease, like whoever's doing it. It's never enough to make up the difference. The gap's always still there, innit? So as much as times are changing, so they have to understand that they have to give, eventually they have to give women the vote. They have to let gay people get married to each other. That they have to, certain things they have to do because society's moving along without them. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But again though, we're still moving at different paces, and the gap's just always gonna be there. You know, again, so it's weird for me, but again, I understand that someone has to do what you're doing. Because if not, the gap's just going to keep getting bigger. So it's a weird one, but yeah. I mean, they could have their meetings and stuff like that, but then having the conversation and being in that, it's like, it's not even just to do with police. It's like with anybody. Like when you're in class sessions and when you're, I don't know, seminars, whatever it may be, when you're in that moment, that's where you are. When you leave now, you go and you do things.
Test.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's even like a driving license. You get your driving license, you do your test, they teach you how to drive, but that's just so you get your license. Once you get your license, do you get what I'm trying to say?
It's true.
So it doesn't matter what training or what thing I went through before. I've got my license now. I'm in control, and I just do what I want on the road. And it's a similar kind of mentality. And I don't want to be defeatist. Like I said, I think it's actually necessary that there's somebody fighting the good fight. I just
it's realistic. It's not defeatist. It's realistic, and we have to be, we have to face reality. And I never thought I'd be doing this work, but I realized that the Most High said, look, this is your path. This is what you've got to do in addition to the stuff you're doing already. And, representation, I don't agree that representation is important in every area, because you can have misrepresentation. But I think that if you've got authentic people who are actually attached to the community and their intentions, are in the highest form of integrity and are for the benefit of the community, then of course, that's representation. But, Kemi, for example, she's not representation of us, an everyday person. Exactly. David Lammy, for example, same thing. Like, I don't respect him at all. You know what I mean? I don't respect these people. So it's about the person and what they're doing in integrity. And I think people see that with me because they know I've really worked on myself. You know what I mean? The last 4.5 years, you know, we all have ego and we all have things that we've got to work on. But I'm a father, I'm a community uncle, that's what people call me, you know, and I have a responsibility. So as well as that being the eldest of 7, I had to do a lot of work on myself to be able to handle the pressures that I'm handling on a day-to-day basis. You know, like therapy is so important, you know, for us around rehabilitation. Again, it's so important. I did therapy for 4.5 years because there was things within myself that I'd, you know, took on along the way, especially being a young man, grew up in situations, seeing certain things, being a part of certain things that I had to deal with, you know, and if I couldn't deal with that, then my energy couldn't be in its purest form. And now I feel that now in the last 4.5 years that the way that I've, you know, risen in different areas of my life, you know, I just got married 3 weeks ago.
Oh, lovely.
You know what I mean? So thank you. Yeah, so yeah, you know what I mean, met the love of my life and never that.
Love that.
Yeah, so you know, it's important, and I think if we then take that responsibility individually to do what we need to do, then we can actually realize our potential in so many different areas.
Yeah.
And
Cause I was gonna ask as well, you know, sometimes people say that you kind of have to kind of change the system, you kind of have to be in the system.
To some degree.
Yes, so I was gonna ask, so what do you think influencing or trying to change the system looks like, obviously, in terms of roles that people can have? Because obviously some people join the force, say the police, for example, right? Join the police, the black people, and hoping to change from within. Working with them, how realistic do you think that is? And yeah.
It's not very realistic because the Met Police, for example, has, you know, black people have the highest rates of leaving the force because of the way that they're treated. But also the misconduct process is also very biased to black officers and when things go wrong. So I think they are contributing in some way because those stats or those experiences we can draw upon to do the work, you know, in those boardrooms or, you know, analyze the statistics and say, this is not working, this is working, this is your drop-off rate, you know, why are people feeling like this? But then you think about the intersections as well. So black men go into the force, cool, fair enough, but a black woman
is different situation.
It's a madness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Women in general is a madness.
Yeah,
How much more black women,
Exactly. So I think there's a part to play.
Yeah.
But it's very, very difficult. If the environment's not right, then you can't go into that environment and think that you're going to change anything because people are just going to shut you down because of their institutionalized racism or their actual racism that they have towards you. So there's a lot of things that we have to figure out in society in general, not in this institution.
Yeah.
You know, when people talk about kicking racism out of football, we can't kick it out of football unless we kick it out of society. And it's the same with the Met Police. We've got to kick it out of society. We've got to educate people and understand that racism is a system of oppression which someone has to be at the bottom, which is going to be us. You know, but again, when you factor in class, there's another intersection.
Yeah.
So then when people say, oh yeah, I'm middle class, I'm like, what? You're not middle class, you're still working.
You're still working class.
Like, you're still working. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you get up every day and you go to work. So you're either rich or you're poor. It's simple as that. And that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
But there's so much for us to really unpick and learn about ourselves, the system, and all these different layers of oppression that if we draw it back and say, all right, let's take the word racism out of it. Let's take race out of it because it's a social construct. What is it now? It's oppression, it's discrimination. Now, if I go and speak to someone, a white officer, and say, okay, have you ever felt oppressed? Have you ever felt discriminated against? Yeah, I felt this in this situation. But if I ask him, oh, have you ever felt racism? Nah, what is that? So then there's no empathy.
Okay.
So then I read a really, really important book, Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis.
Oh, nice.
So you should read that because what it does is it showcases that oppression and discrimination, there has to be a personal connection to it. So if we keep using the word racism, we're upholding the system that is designed to keep us down. But if we now say it's oppression and discrimination, then everybody has a personal connection to that to some degree. So then it can be a collective action because you have an empathy and you're actually attached to this, you know, this theory, this notion. And then you can realize, all right, now we're going to force things through. Now we're going to get the women's vote. Now we're going to do what, you see what I'm saying? So that's why we've got to reframe the way that we've been educated. So even for me in the training sessions, I say racism as a word, is it outdated? Because we have to challenge now the words that have been given to us. We keep taking their rubbish and then trying to regurgitate it. Doesn't make any sense. But if you now say it's oppression, it's discrimination, you know, and then if she links it to Palestine and everything like that, it's very, very important that we understand that everybody has to learn to some degree around this system and what it does to everyone globally. You know, there's only a certain group of people that are benefiting, you know, day in, day out.
Do you feel like in doing that, though, sometimes the struggles that are unique to black people get forgotten about?
Yeah, I can understand it. If you think about Congo, Sudan, again, but you know what it is that there hasn't this, see with Palestine right now, there hasn't this level of access to what is actually happening to people. And if we saw the same in Sudan and Congo, I think it would light the fires in many people's hearts as well. But it's not to say,
Think so?
I think so, personally. I think right now, maybe I'm being naive, but I think there's an opportunity for people to actually put themselves in other people's shoes and understand what's going on. And even using my phone, I feel like guilty using my phone because I know that this is what's going on in Congo, but this is happening in so many different countries around the world. So then when you think about who the global elite are and what they're doing to the people, how they're benefiting, if you now collectivize that plight and get rid of race, then people can actually see the oppression for what it actually is and how it fits into the system of imperialism and colonialism. That's the real fight. That is the real fight. So we have to now look at people as human beings. And if we do that, then we can actually understand and be more empathetic to people's situations no matter where they are. That's how it's been happening in Venezuela, it's been happening in Colombia, everywhere. Everywhere. So yeah, it's a tough one, but we have to do more for the African continent. We have to visit more. They're crying out for us to go back. I do a lot of work in Kenya, Uganda, Zambia.
Wow.
I love East Africa. I will be there. Hopefully by 2026, that'll be me. My first winter, I'll be there. I'm looking to move there, man, because there's massive opportunity. Lots of great things to learn. Culture. It's just
move there for good.
Well, yeah, long term. Yeah, yeah. We have to go back. Bob Marley said it. We have to go home.
That's right.
So we can't keep staying here and keep fighting, because then what are you actually fighting for? You're fighting for scraps. When you can actually go home and get some land and build something, really tangible, and something that's going to nurture the next generation. This isn't nurturing the next generation. Like, this is the baby United States. We're literally following everything that United States is going through and gone through. We're going through the same thing. Free market capitalism. The poverty gap is widening. They say in real terms, this is now the same level as Victorian poverty now. And this is supposed to be a first world country. It's not. It's only a first world country for certain people. For everybody else, this is a third world country. So it's...
People from back home always say that, because the way, obviously, Western countries are marketed, it's like, land of opportunities, blah, blah. And then some people think that when they leave home, even though their life is decent back home, they're automatically going to have a better life here.
Yeah.
And then they're moving back because it's like, over here, and then it's not that great. And then as much as it not being that great, you're not even really that liked. There's all the racism, there's all the hate, there's all this, and people end up going back. Or even people that don't actually have much come here thinking, okay, my life is going to change. And they're like, it's not that great, Like, I hear that a lot from people.
Yeah.
I was going to ask as well, with young people, like, what are the kind of things that you focus on in terms of when you're coaching and mentoring them?
Again,
what's the difference between coaching and mentoring?
So coaching is different. I mean, coaching from a sports perspective is really just trying to nurture the individual and their technical abilities so that they can go into make it a skill. So so when it's a pose, it makes it a skill. So what we're trying to do with young people is just build up their confidence by using the technique to then get to that skill in a coaching perspective. But I think with coaching, you're not just a coach. I think coaching is actually more intense if you're working with players week in, week out, and younger players than being a mentor, because you have to be so many different things within that session. You have to be disciplinarian, you have to be
you're like a second parent.
Literally, it's mad. Like, but they respect you, and then the parents come to you like, they're not tidying their room. And like, I'm like, bruv, tidy your room, you're not playing on Sunday. Oh yeah, it's done. Like, because they respect you and they know. So coaching, I think, is a longer process. No, it's not actually. Mentoring is a longer process. Coaching, it can be a quicker process. In the sense that you can see more tangible results, very quickly. Like, all right, cool, now you learned that skill. Oh, that goal you scored on Sunday was great. Whereas mentoring is more longer term. It's around lifelong mentoring, lifelong learning. So there's young people that I worked with, from the age of 16, 17, like, who are now in their mid-30s.
That's so cool.
I know it's mad. I know, and then they're like, "Yeah, you coach my son as well." I'm like, "This is mad.
This is crazy,
I'm old now."
Generational, beautiful.
Yeah, but I think with mentoring now, it's around working around that young person, and it's a real child-centered approach or young person-centered approach, and utilizing their passions to help navigate their trajectories away from negativity and towards positivity. And that's what we do very well at Mentivity, by using their passions and saying, right, you like data. All right, cool. Let's go look at data analytics. Let's look at this, or within a football context because you like football. So we use that passion to help them navigate away from that. Football is my passion. By following football, now this has created the life that I've got today. So then I've got secondary passions, which is working with young people. So I think with mentoring now, it's being that trusted adult and also that trusted source of information.
Yeah.
Because you have to upskill yourself as well and keep yourself relevant.
Yeah.
And because those young people are going to come to you, whether it's, I'm 10, 11, and then they don't see you for 5 years and they call you out the blue. Oh, sir, like, listen, I'm about to choose my options, or I'm going to go to this college. Like, I think this might work for you, etc. But this is your decision. This is only what I think. So what we call that in both mentoring and coaching is called guided discovery. So guided discovery, in essence, is saying, for example, if you have a child and they start walking, what do? You either stand in front of them or you stand behind them saying, come to me, come.
Yeah.
So when they drop, you're there. And that's what guided discovery is that when they fall and they make a decision, then you're there at their lowest point or even their highest point and saying, all right, cool, how do we evaluate that session? How do you feel? How do we now replicate this? Because success is addictive. So we've got to recreate success for young people who don't routinely experience that. Because I didn't experience success much when I was younger. The first time I really experienced success was at age 14 when I won my first trophy at football. And I was just like gassed. I was like, oh my gosh, I can actually do something with a team, with people from different areas, from different gangs, and we achieved this. And then I was like, I want to feel this again. So then every year that team won more trophies. And then I could take that into my life. So
What is free market capitalism and why is that a bad thing?
So free market capitalism is basically saying that everybody, it's like an unregulated market in essence. So then what happens is that you got the American dream, for example, where it says, okay, yeah, you can get the American dream. You can have this house and you can have this wife and these children, but it's an illusion for so many people that they can't attain to. So free market capitalism is basically extracting money from the public sector into the private sector and then squeezing that public sector and saying, well, okay, guys, now you've got to get yourself out of trouble. And it's the same thing with the youth sector. So now what they've done is they've taken all this money away through austerity and saying, okay, now these youth clubs, sports and the arts doesn't matter. Let's squeeze that, get rid of that, because they feel like from a Tory perspective, they don't have to then support the community. People should be able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, which again, if you don't have the resources to do so, then what are you going to do? You're going to go to whatever's viable, which is the streets. Because I can see, I can make money, it's tangible. My man's making money, I want some of that money. I don't care if I get exploited or I go through trauma. This is now what being a man or someone in society is. So I think free market capitalism is based around, imperialism, that I can take, if I've got more resources, I can take what I want. I can create this. And then you sell this dream to people that they can actually attain to this and get to that point. But it's only one in 100, a million, you know what I mean, that can make it. But again, that's the thing, that is that they keep selling us this dream and then we keep chasing this money. It's like that J. Cole video, the ATM video, and he's chasing the money and it gets closer at the end, he's dead. You know what I mean? So my point is that if you keep chasing the money, you're never going to get it. And when I was doing that when I was younger, I never got it. Now I don't chase the money, I just do what is right and I experience success, the money comes.
Man, what do you think about free market capitalism?
I think this might be the only area we might disagree on. I feel like capitalism, firstly, what I would say is I don't think that we live in a society where there's true free market capitalism. I think there's loads of subsidies, tariffs put in by the government, loads of intervention in places where there really doesn't need to be. And I think that's what messes up the opportunities for a lot of people. I think today anyway, when you're comparing capitalism versus socialism, especially socialism through a Eurocentric lens, I don't think it does us any good. We need something that's going to lift us up. And handouts is not going to work. So capitalism, to me, provides that vehicle for us to then say, okay, cool. Yes, reduce taxes here. Those of us who have the entrepreneurial mindset can benefit from that. You know what I'm saying? Because that 3 or 5% difference in corporation tax can prevent me or you from starting a business. That will change our lives, change our communities' lives. You know what I'm saying? But if we're there always depending on the government, depending on somebody else to hand us something, right? I feel like that's the issues.
So capitalism in its origins, in its true essence, is a byproduct of colonialism and imperialism. Because the Industrial Revolution was all about capitalism. in the American North and versus the American South, basically you have two groups of white men saying, this is our way to make money. We want to preserve this way of making money. But Industrial Revolution just made it easier and quicker to make that money and more and vast amounts. Okay. So when we talk about capitalism, it's inextricably linked to exploitation, which is also linked to imperialism and colonialism. Now, capitalism, through imperialism and colonialism, doesn't work.
Okay.
And that's the issue, is that it's dependent on that. They're all interdependent. So when we understand that the capitalistic outlook that many people have had, that this is I can take this land, I can take this, I can take these rights away from these people because in the name of capitalism or colonialism or imperialism, it's all interlinked. So someone has to lose out in capitalism, in its current guise.
Exactly.
But again, we can't then reimagine a system which has been used to put us in where we are right now.
But we can use the theory though. You know what I'm saying? Like just basic understanding of certain principles. Like Adam Smith said, it's not the benevolence of the butcher that we get meat, or the baker that we get bread, but out of self-interest. If there was no self-interest for every individual, right, understanding, you know what, I want some type of profit here, we wouldn't do what we're doing, right? And a lot of the time, we live in this fantasy world where it's like, cool, let's just go out there and help. Black people, let's come together, and because we're black, let's do something for ourselves. It doesn't work that way, because after this meeting, we have to go home and deal with real life.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
But that self-interest, like you said, the charity wasn't going to work for you. The business, the limited company worked. You know what I'm saying? It's not because you was greedy, but the self-interest. And a lot of the time, people confuse self-interest with greed. Completely two different things, right? And that self-interest, because of the type of person you are, right, allowed you to then say, cool, I'm going to better my position and use my position and my resources that I get because of this, because of capitalism or this capitalistic principle. I can better myself and other people that look like me.
Yeah, it's a good point. So what I will add is that I did start off as a limited company, but since I then got a CIC, limited by shares initially, because I didn't understand what I was doing, so it's trial and error. And that's one of the things about being an entrepreneur. Like, I call myself a community entrepreneur because I extract money from the corporate sector, funding as well, through the CIC, limited by guarantee. So we actually receive funding too. So from the local government and local authorities, things like that. So with MOPAC, the Greater GLA, the Greater London Assembly. So I have a mixed model of funding now. So on top of that, the corporate sector is where I get a lot of the money from. So we're about to announce our biggest sponsorship deal in our history with Goldman Sachs. So they're our biggest funder. Big up. Yeah. So again, but that's not a charitable donation. That's basically them investing in Mentivity because they believe in what we're doing. And that's what I posed to them, that we have to invest in our communities to actually realise the changes that we want to see, but also create economic equity. This is it. So on top of that, I can't name who they are, but it's another, it's a tech company that will come on board to create tech incubator hubs. Because what we need to do now is upskill young people around coding and cybersecurity, around the careers which are going to allow them to change their economic standing. Because we have to be a part of that to some degree and educate ourselves. But you need a stimulus and you need something for someone to buy into your idea. So people actually invest in my idea because I'm selling this idea that this is what you want to do or need to do for tangible changes. So I think for me, I think as a mixed model of funding is cool, but I'm not going to just go down the charitable route. Of course, I think there's a combination. I think we have to redefine a new financial system, but I don't think it's capitalism.
And I would agree with you. I don't think straightforward, full-blown capitalism does work. Because like you said, there will be situations where people suffer. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with human beings. I guess my thinking is more so, and this may not be the best analogy to use, but is a gun evil, or is it the people that use that gun that makes it an evil weapon? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It can be used to protect you. Yeah. It can be used to do good things. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's kind of how I view capitalism and those principles in capitalism. Socialism, to me, again, the intention is beautiful. But intention in economics means nothing. It's all about action and what that produces. And a lot of the time, we have the best intentions to help people and do this. But socialism, to me anyway, again, is more so about me giving you something, but taking from somebody else. Capitalism at least provides some sort of fertile soil to grow something. You know what I'm saying? So you don't always lose. It's not a mercantile view of things. It's more so growth. You know what I'm saying? and again, I'm fully aware that, especially because human beings are human beings.
Yeah, tribalism.
People, you know what I'm saying? People are gonna lose out. But I just feel for black people, especially if we have the mindset that you're showing, right? You can use that to better yourself, your family, and your community. Socialism to me takes longer and isn't the most effective, especially here in the West.
Yeah, of course. But then you look at Cuba, for example, and look at how they had the best doctors in the world, the best medical outlook in the world, like the best athletes. So there's ways that you can actually, blend the system to benefit your demographic, because what works in the UK might not work in Cuba, might not work. So again, it's about letting people being able to realize self-determination and self-govern themselves in the sense that, right, this is going to work for us and this is what we need to do. And I think when we look at the West, historically, all they keep doing is meddling other people's affairs. Facts. Like, you can't come into my house and I tell you to take off your shoes and you're like, no, I'm going to walk through your yard in my shoes. And then we're going to scuff, we're going to fight. So that's what's going to happen. So this is what's happening. You can't go into countries and say, you need to change this, you need to do that. If you don't, then we're going to get rid of your government and do this and expect people not to have a backlash.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's, again, it's crazy, but all this stuff that has been created in the last 400 or 500 years and what we presented, like, it's all an illusion, it's all a lie, and we have to be very, very innovative and think outside the box and say, how, one, are we going to overcome the system and break free from that system? Also infiltrate, but then replicate. In terms of ways that work for us. Because like I said, in Africa, in Kenya, I'm looking at Kenya, going there, and I'm seeing the people, I'm seeing the opportunities. I feel like I'm in the year 2000 and I'm 41. I'm just like, there's massive opportunities here. But also they're crying out for our expertise. Because we're within these systems. So then we can go and co-create these systems with local people and upskill them in a way that we need to, because Africa has the youngest population in the world. So what are we doing now to upskill those young people who are innovative, creative, vibrant, like intelligent? What are we doing for them? So again, we can focus our resources on doing it here in the UK, but then how are we linking to the wider diaspora? How are we linking it back to the motherland? Because if we literally put a gate and shut off the borders for Africa, the world would be in turmoil.
100%.
In turmoil. Literally, 2 years, done.
And it's funny you mentioned Kenya, because I believe Kenya is the first country to remove the need for visas now for all African countries. It's a beautiful thing. Should have been done ages ago. You know what I'm saying? But
remember, independence for these countries was only 50 odd years ago.
That's true. Facts.
So it's not a long time, and you've got to think about the 400, 500, 600 years of colonialism, imperialism, which has now been ingrained in their trauma, in their DNA, in that trauma. So there's a lot for us to do, but I'm optimistic. I'm an eternal optimist. That's why I do what I do. I believe in change. I believe in humanity. I believe in people. And that's why I do what I do. And we have to have that outlook that we're going to realize, our salvation, listening 100%. To Bob Marley, like growing up. If you listen to Legend, the compilation from start to finish, it's actually a blueprint of what we've got to do and all the things that we're going to go through to get to the point where it's Exodus, and we get there and then we're jamming. It's a party, and that's where I see it. And I listen to Bob Marley a lot because he was ahead of his time, as well as Malcolm X, especially after he came back from Mecca. I learned a lot from him, and he was a massive influence in my life. It's to the point that, I converted to Islam this year in April. Jeez. So, it's an amazing journey, but we've got to get closer to God. We've got to understand ourselves because there is, when things go wrong, when something goes like tragically wrong, what's the first thing humans say? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Literally. And it shows you in those situations, nothing else matters. So, there's a lot to learn.
I think you definitely got the right approach, man, because I'm definitely hearing, it's funny you mentioned Bob Marley. Obviously, a lot of that
it's funny you mentioned Islam.
I'm coming there.
Are you Muslim?
He's Nation of Islam.
Oh, bro.
But he's a Christian too.
Okay. I need to understand this. I saw a clip earlier, I saw the hat. I was trying to work it out.
No. That's it. You worked it out.
No, but I was just pretty much going to pick up... basically, your approach to everything, which is obviously infiltrating the system, but the importance of doing for self. Which, like you said, obviously you hear that in Bob Marley, but you hear that obviously from the pure root, Marcus Garvey. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the Honourable Elijah Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? So You know.
Excuse me.
I have to pick up my teachers, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Oh, I was going to ask you a question because you recently got an award. Is it last year, the MBCC award?
Yeah.
Most inspirational.
Okay, thank you. Because we love an acronym. Like, you should just know what it is.
Are you going to say it?
No, I think you should say
I think it's a multicultural business community. I can't remember the last bit. I should know this.
Multicultural
Business
community.
And maybe culture. I should know this. True's going to cuss me now. So I'll double check it. But the NBCC, I won Most Inspirational Person of the Year.
Amazing.
yes.
Which was huge for me because this work can be unforgiving. You know, I've lost 13 young people over the last 13 years that I worked with extensively. Like, it's mad. The last one, let's say the last one, it was Jeremy, was in 2020, got stabbed at Oxford Circus, Colombian boy. Then we had Raheem Barton, who was shot and killed on the Brandon estate, but he was part of Moscow 17. So Moscow 17 in Zone 2, that whole beef. But they were all friends when they went to school, which was mad. And now they're all beefing.
Sad.
But Raheem, you know, when he was shot, I was with him on the day that he got shot. So like these things are always close to home, you know, and it takes its toll. And that was a real eye-opener for me after he was my 11th young person that I lost. I had to just go into therapy. I had to like work on these things because I wasn't sleeping. I was like dreaming that I could save him and all these different things because I'd known that boy since he was 8, you know. He got shot and killed at 17. And because he was with me on the day, it was just an absolute madness. You can't even comprehend it, you know. It was like a film. It was like I was watching a film. I was like, is this actually happening? You know, I picked him up that morning, took him to coaching because when he came up for Jamaica, I said to his mum, we're going to help him and support him. He wanted to be an architect. So we took him to a coaching. We had a football club, my brother and my other business partner, Leon and Tyson. Tyson's my brother. We had a football club in the city called City of London FC. So we ran that for like 10 years. So he was coaching, learning to be a coach. He loved football. So on that day, it was the 5th of May. It was hot, like it was blazing, not a cloud in the sky. And he delivered the best session he ever delivered. And the night before, there were shots fired on the Brandon estate from some Zone 2 members apparently. And we took him off the estate. And when we went over Blackfriars Bridge, literally you could see his shoulders.
Just tense.
Relax.
Oh, relax.
And it was like, I'm off ends. And he was like, I never seen this on that building. And you know what I mean? Like, because he was cooped up in his area. So we did the session. We didn't pay him up until that day. He was struggling with hay fever. We said, bro, you got to fight through. I got hay fever, you got to fight through. He says, bro, you're annoying. All right, I'm going to do it. So he did it. Then we paid him £15 for that 45-minute session. And we put the money in his hand. You know when you earn money, it's different. His face lit up. And he was like, I love you, man. Like literally, I appreciate this. And I used to always tell him that I loved him from a young age because he didn't get that from his father. He used to tell me that, you know, nobody tells me that they love me. So when I said that to him, he's like, hey, Tyson, is your brother gay or something, bro? Like, why is he? And I was like, bro, what's wrong with you, man? Like, I'm telling you this because I care about you. So it was a difficult, you know, situation for him to receive love in that way. And that time that we invest in young people is love too. They receive that time as love because they know you're not obligated to be there. So they're like, rah, like, he could be anywhere, but he's here. So when we paid him that day, we finished the session. I had to go to the city to go to Nighttown to get something. And I said, I can bring you with me. But my brother said, no, I'll drop you home. But if you want to go out, because we know what's going on, call me or call Sayce and we'll come and get you and we'll take you off ends and we'll go out. Yeah, all right, yeah, cool. Raheem's just like Scorpio like me, just like when he wants to do something, that's it. And then he went to play ball on the estate with his friends. He was hanging around and then got the call like 6 hours later. Raheem's been shot. I'm like, what are you talking about, brother? He was with me. Like, and then I went to the estate and I saw the tent was up and I was just like...
That's shattering.
Listen,
That's
it was the worst thing I've ever experienced. I actually went to Jamaica to bury him, you know, with his family. Like, we went to Jamaica to bury him. That's how much it meant for me to be there. But I realised that I had to do more for myself and protect myself.
Take care of yourself.
You know, so winning that award, full circle, winning that award, just, it meant a lot. And there was an outpouring of emotion for me. I also had my mum there. You know, my mum's my biggest support and I love my mum like dearly and she's just my greatest inspiration. So I had her there, my fiance, now my wife. And literally I had to bring her up on stage and celebrate her, you know what I mean? And it was a good moment. It was a really nice moment. And in that moment, I realised that if I can inspire people to do more around young people, then that's my job done, you know? And it was a really like powerful moment. So that's probably the best award that I've received, you know, out of the awards that I have received, and that's the one that means the most.
Sick. Because I remember, like, even when you was giving the acceptance speech, you spoke about the things that your mum instilled in you. What are some of those things?
Oh, education, man. Education. My mum, integrity. You know, you always say you have to live good, you know, because you never know what's going to happen. You have to treat people good. And that's one thing I didn't understand when I was young. You know, like I was a rogue, you know what I mean? I just always badding people up and stuff in school. That was me. You know, I went to Kingsdale, like, it was like Blue Story every single day. Like, ghetto, Brixton, Peckham, every single day. So, like, I was just proper Aggie. That's how we were. That's how we grew up. So I just didn't know how to treat people, you know, in certain situations. But I was always a good person at heart. So my mum really instilled that in me, and just giving back, you know, always giving back. My mum was always, people always at the house, you know, food, mum cooking up food and feeding people, and like people just to come in and just jam at our house because it was just a nice environment. So it was nice. And my mum, you know, she educated us from a young age before we went to school. So we were reading and writing when we were like in reception, and they were like, what is going on? These black children are like, they're writing, they're reading, like, what's going on?
The statistics, honey.
Like, let's get them on mental, let's test them. Like, but my mum just invested that time in us, you know, like proper cooked meals. Like, we grew up on a council estate. My mum would make meals from scratch, you know what I mean? She didn't have much. And then when my dad left, it was really difficult for her. So, you know, she just had to just roll up her sleeves and do her best. And that's where I get that spirit of never giving up. For my mum, I watched my mum raise 7 children single-handedly. You know, she's been raising children for 41 years.
Wow.
41 years.
And not just her kids, other people's kids too.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly. I've got like fake cousins and that, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so, and that's my mum, you know, she's beautiful. Just, everyone sees her as a strong, loving woman. And she's so powerful, you know, she's a master manifester, and I've got that from her. You know, so I've learned so much from her, and just really now tapping into who she is and allowing her to enjoy the life that she always wanted to enjoy, you know. Like after this, I've got to take her to the airport because she's flying out, you know. She just got back from Gambia last week. She's living life.
Love that for her.
But that's what I want, you know. And one day I want to retire my mum, you know, and I want to go to Kenya and have our compound, and my mum's there.
Amen.
That's it. That's life, you know. And then when I talk to young people, I'm like, what's your motivation? I want to retire my mum. I want to enjoy my life with my mum. That's what you should be doing as a young man. That's a measure of a man as a person. You know, how you treat your mum is how you're going to treat your wife. You know, and women in general. So I've learned a lot from my mum, and not to say that I've always been the best person in society, because I went through a lot of things, you know. Like, but again, it shapes you in your environment, but you have to overcome it. You can't let it consume you.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful, but you're batting up people in secondary school, and you're wondering why it is that you were in court.
What are you talking about? Because I got beat up by a pen. Are you mad? Are you right? Are you okay? Could never justify that. It's just how it was, man. You know what I mean? That's how it was. All my brethren growing up were Peckham boys, so but we all had a shared trauma bond. That we all didn't have our dads. We didn't notice that. You know, so that was a shared trauma bond, and it was mad. Like, people don't understand. Growing up on the States and the North Peckham estate and all that stuff, like, it's quite similar to now. Like, you had to be with the people that were about this life to some degree. Otherwise, you're going to become a victim. You know what I mean? But then I realised at 14, after that police interaction, going into year 10, that rolling with my brethren was going to put me on a path to destruction, because I'm an all or nothing person. Like, I go all out. If I want to do something, I'm going all out. So if someone hurt me, which I witnessed someone get stabbed at the age of 14, I know that I would have went all out to make sure that they couldn't get me again, because that's how I was. So I realised that at 14, I was like, nah. I don't want it for myself.
Big up, auntie. Just a very intelligent kid.
Hey, listen, it was a madness. Year 10 was a madness. I had to fight everybody. Peckham boys, Brixton boys, everybody in my school. But in year 11, they all respected me. So I will always stand on my own. Like, I don't follow the crowd. I don't conform to the norm. That's never been me. You know, I always challenge that. So, yeah, and that's my mum. So, yeah.
Big up, auntie, man. That's so wholesome.
2 questions, because I think he's going just now.
Yes. Can't have a miss a flight. Okay, so we ask our guests 2 questions. Well, it's 3 from what I'm seeing now, but let's do 2 first. Okay, so tell us something that nobody knows about you, and also your biggest life lesson. And then when you're done with that, you can leave the next guest a question that you want them to answer.
Okay.
I like that one.
What's the first one again?
So the first one is, tell us something that nobody knows about you.
Oh, madness. So much.
Love that. People usually come here talking about, everyone knows everything. I'm like,
No, they don't.
Liar.
No, people think they do, but they don't. And I'm really private, to be honest. I learned that from my mum as well. But even though I'm in the social media realm and all the work that I do, like, it's difficult. But I'll say a couple of things because I'm just trying to think on the spot. One of the things I find really, and it sounds mad, and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but I really find washing up therapeutic.
No, it is.
So literally, like, that's when I do a lot of my thinking.
Yes.
So I'll just be at the sink and I'll just be thinking, all right, cool. And some of my greatest ideas have been whilst washing up. So I'll be like, add the pot, don't worry, do that. And I'll just be like, and so
you're in the zone, washing up?
Yeah.
Oh, you're in the zone.
Yeah. What people don't know about me is mad.
Can I throw one in there?
Yeah.
You're a chef, man.
Yeah, I like cooking, man. You know what? I love to cook.
Where's the haunts of men that like to cook?
We had no choice. I'm from a Jamaican household.
That.
We had no choice.
Love that.
From the age of 7, my mum had us in the kitchen.
Love.
Cooking rice and peas from 8, 9.
Just to add to that, Nigerian aunties and uncles, I hope you're hearing. All right? Get the men in the kitchen too.
Yeah, no, I like to cook.
Lit.
I actually wanted to be a chef when I was younger. Yeah, I actually wanted to be a chef. I really enjoy cooking.
So cool.
I do, and during the first lockdown, I actually, because everything was falling down and there was nothing to make money, I started selling food, the right food, not the bad food, the right food. Started selling so jerk chicken and all that stuff that I like to cook. So it was actually called Yard Food, so YAAD, Yard Food. And I did it with my sisters as well. They came on board because I was making food. I was living with my gran during the first lockdown. And then, literally, she loved me to cook for her. So I'd be like, Gran, what do you want today? I want fish and chips. So she's from Barbados. Yeah, she's from Barbados. Unfortunately, she passed away last year, but she's here with me. Like, spiritually, I see her every day. So every time I see 22, I know she's here. So, but my gran, I was living with her, so I would literally cook her what she wanted, and I would just document it. Be like, Gran, what do you want? And then she would say it. I'm like, right. And then
those are my favorite kind of TikToks. I love that kind of content.
Yeah, so then I
That's
just
so
did
sweet.
that, and then people were like, oh, that looks nice. Like, can you make some for me? And like, could you deliver that to me? So I was like, deliver. All right, cool. So I started doing it. And then, it was like £100, £200, and then it got to like £1.5 grand a day. So I was just doing that, and I thought, right, this is an option for me. So I actually really want to have a restaurant. So actually, good segue. So
Nice.
I want to have my own restaurant.
Sick.
So, but not here, in Kenya.
Okay, well, we'll have to come visit.
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
very, very close to doing
That'd
that.
be lit.
Yeah. So I want to have my own restaurant and a venue for people to come and learn how to cook and just learn aspects of life that you're not taught, life skills.
Yeah.
So that's something I really want to do. Okay, so what's the second one?
And then your biggest life lesson.
Biggest life lesson, boy. Biggest life lesson. You have to protect your heart. You have to protect your heart.
Word.
Because I'm a super emotional person, and I always have been. I wear my heart on my sleeve, like in everything that I do. So, football, whatever, I'm there. Like I would scream and shout and fight to the end. That's how I am, and I'm very determined. But the things that I experienced growing up, I didn't know how to protect myself and protect my heart. And then what that did is, it created a version of me that wasn't who I actually was. So then I actually represented myself in society to people in situations that I wasn't, because of that heartbreak, and it turned me cold. So that was my biggest life lesson, and that's something I tell my son. He's 17. I tell him, you have to protect your heart. It's so important. If you don't, then people are going to be able to manipulate you, but you become a version of yourself you don't want to be, and then you've got to do the work to undo that, which some people can't recover from. So it's really, really important that you protect your heart, and by doing that, you can achieve the things you want to achieve. I've had the most amazing life. If it was today's to be my last day on earth, I could say I've lived. And life is for living. I've experienced so much. I've traveled to so many different countries. I've worked in countries. I played professional football. I've coached some of the best athletes this country has produced. I've done a lot. I'm on the London Police Board. I'm from the Aylesbury Estate. All these things that I've done, like, I don't even take stock and think, like, that's mad, because I'm not finished. I've got so much more to do, and I'm like, I'm not going to be happy until I create a legacy of change in my community, and that's what Mentivity will be. A legacy. We'll have our school within the next 2.5 years.
Amen.
We will franchise out to other major cities. I will bring it to Africa more widely. I've brought Mentivity to Africa already. I've done a lot of stuff, but there's a lot more to do, and I know that the work that I'm doing is going against the system. And as I said, Malcolm X and revolution and things like that Bob Marley, like it's in my blood, you know. So I'm doing it in different ways, you know. And I'm around some great people and some really great women, some black women that are doing some amazing work in this space. I mentioned Temi Mwale for Forefront Project, Katrina French for Unjust, like. They are phenomenal women that are doing great things, and there's so much that we need to do to support our black women and to learn from them. Because when you look at the civil rights era, the people that were driving it were the women. The men were just to show the faces for show. You know, they were the voices, they were the bodies. Because the women strategized, they did everything, and then the men just had to go out there and execute. So we have to take, you know, stock of history and what people have actually done and really celebrate our black women, you know, because it's so, so important. And that goes back to how you treat your mum. You know, and that's why I'm trying as much as I can to celebrate my mum. She's a head of education at Mentivity. She works with Mentivity. So do you know what I mean? So this is what I'm talking about. That at some point, like, mum, yeah, that's cool, but you're retired now. You know, go and enjoy your life. Go and travel. Go and do what you want to do. Go and spend time with your grandchildren. And that's what it's about.
Yes.
Gosh, so wholesome.
Your wife watch it?
And the last one.
Your wife watching this?
My wife?
Is she watching
I don't know. Well, probably going to shout work.
Talking real sweet.
And the question for the next
one
guest.
is you leave a question for the next guest.
Question.
So whatever you would like them to answer.
Weird.
I think it's weird.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
I think
Because
it's so cool.
who could
You never
it be?
know who's going to be here.
Yeah.
And you could challenge them. So if the question is something that they already don't do or something, you could challenge them to actually think about that.
Okay. What are you currently doing, or what will you do to help us overcome this systemic oppression that we face on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, well, now that's hard.
Yeah, well, I'm leaving it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. You
Said
better
what
get
he
someone.
said.
That was a good question.
That's a good question. We will put them on the spot. I hope the next person in here is a civil rights activist.
I'll send some your way.
Who's a TikToker. Finished.
Depends who.
That's true.
There's some really good educational ones.
Do we have a caller?
Yes.
Morning.
Yo, morning.
Who are we speaking to, please?
Hello? Yo, Ed, it's Ed.
Morning, Ed. You right?
Yeah, I'm good still.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout to Sayce real quick.
Thank you, man.
Huh? Yeah, man. Real talk from that way back. You done so much for the ends, for me, even me specifically, from back then, between you and like the youth club back on Hillsbury, and like you kept us out of a lot of trouble, you know what I mean?
Love, man. Love.
For real. It's a blessing to see what you're doing, man. It's been an absolute blessing.
Appreciate you, man. Love, bro. Thank you, man.
Always, man.
Thanks for that, Ed.
All right, take it easy.
All right, love.
But this has been a great interview. Can you please let people know what your social media platforms are, where they can check you out for Mentivity, everything?
Before I do that, I just got to take that. That means a lot. You know, that's what this is all about. You know, and that really resonates, especially people from my ends. You know what I mean? Like on the Ellsbury estate, and that people can say that I've impacted their life. You know, that's the most important thing, and that's, you know, the work of God, Allah. That's literally why I'm here, and that's just so humbling. You know, and I think one of the things I've been really learning about is around humility and leadership. Like, you have to have humility. And I didn't have that when I was younger. So when I was trying to play professional football, you know, if I made it where I wanted to make it and was making that money, I would have been that guy in the tabloids doing madness. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't have that emotional regulation, nothing. I'd have been out there doing a madness. So, and literally my life is happening the way it's supposed to be. And that just reinforces and keeps me humble and just keeps me on track. So, yeah, big up Ed, man.
That's beautiful, man.
Yes.
Yes. So socials, you can find me Instagram, Sayce Holmes-Lewis, on X or Twitter, whatever everybody calls it. Where you can see a lot of my controversial things that people call controversial, but I just speak the truth. S Holmes-Lewis. I think I got TikTok, but I don't even use it that much. But I just put the videos up there and just hope for the best. So yeah, and Sayce Holmes-Lewis as well. And you can also check me out at sayceholmeslewis.com.
Lovely. And Mentivity?
So www.mentivity.com and also at Mentivity on Instagram. So yeah.
Do people can people make donations to events or anything like that?
You can. We have a Just Giving, so we're trying to raise 25 grand. So one thing we didn't speak about is our Mentivity Community Hub. So that's actually on the Ellsbury estate. So that's actually a full circle moment. So that's going to be launched in January. We're waiting for the lease to be signed off. Southern Council, hurry up. So yeah, it's new space. One of our other corporate sponsors, Spotify, will be building a podcast studio there.
Love that.
So if you guys want to come and do a podcast, I'm going to get you lot on.
Over there.
But they're going to build a all-purpose podcast studio there. So, and then we've got other corporate partners as well. But that's going to be a full circle moment for me. When I open that up, it's probably going to be one of my most proud moments because I just walk past this road every single day to go to school.
Now you play something there.
And that's it, Mentivity Community Hub.
Amazing.
So, yeah, we've got a Just Giving page. If you want to donate directly, we've got to start using these platforms as well, by the way, because they're making money off of our plight again. So if we can donate directly, let's do it that way. So you can get in contact at info@mentivity.com as well.
Sick.
Dope.
Do you have another caller?
Yes.
Morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
It's Christy.
Morning, Christy.
Hi. I just wanted to. I've been on the E-Man to get Sayce on the show. Like I've been on him. If you ask E-Man, he'll tell you. I've honestly so much respect for what you do, especially because I'm South London and obviously I grew up around. But I know the stories in it. So just the impact.
You funny, man.
I know the impact that you have. Obviously, because them days, them Peckham Boys ghetto was very hot.
It was no joke.
Very hot on the ends. It was not a joke. It was very hot. So just the fact, and the thing is, I didn't go to Kingsdale or nothing. But I heard of Kingsdale from where I was in secondary.
Where did you go?
So I went to St. Michael's.
Oh, yeah. That's in, yeah. That was bad as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I'm not going to lie. But it was, we had our own problems.
Yeah.
I mean, we were fighting the NF as well as
fighting. As well as each other.
Exactly. That was the whole thing. But just the work that you do, I have so much respect for you, honestly. Just for the fact that the black men doing the work in this community and doing this space, I think is so important. Just to show like that it can be done. Like this is it's not a myth. It's not like we're not doing the work. Like there are actually people doing the work.
Yeah.
And I think it's so good to highlight. That's why I love this platform. Big up TDA, big up the New Black. That we can highlight these people actually doing the work, honestly. So each and every time, big up to Sayce, each and every time, honestly, you and continue doing what you're doing. You're gonna be like, you're blessed. Like honestly, like, keep on doing what you're doing, man. Honestly,
thank you.
So proud, so proud, especially coming from South and all that. Aylesbury was no joke. So just for the fact that you're here, honestly, and you literally walk the walk and talk the talk. So honestly, big up to you.
Thank you,
each and every time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christy.
Bye.
Thanks, Christy.
Bye.
We know Sayce has got to go, man.
This answer's got to catch a flight, man. I'm complaining about that.
Well, just before I go, I actually want to big up my nephew, Dream On Kid. So check out, this is his hat. Gervais, he's a really, really great young businessman, young entrepreneur coming up. So I just want to big him up. I also want to big up my son, Cameron, because without him being born 2006, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing because I wanted to create safer communities for him. And big up yourselves for having me on. Like, seriously, it means a lot. Yeah, really, really enjoyed today, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, man.
When the hub is open, come back.
Yeah. For sure. This ain't the last time.
Love that.
That's right.
Love that.
You're welcome anytime, man.
Yeah, love. Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, let's get into People's Journal.
All right.
Say fly to Auntie.
All right, people. Welcome to the People's Journal, where I give you the news from an economics point of view. So, there isn't much to talk about, to be fair, right? The first thing I wanted to mention is just about, what's her name? Baroness Moan. See, obviously, you know how everyone's getting onto her, innit? Rightfully so, for lying, right?
Oh, yeah.
But now she's like, wait a minute. Why am I taking all the flack, man? The government knew about all of this.
Okay.
Like, I didn't lie to the government. I'm lying to you guys.
So, because the government told me to.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't
I
lie.
like that for her, though.
Yeah.
That's a linguisty, man. Sometimes you got to let them know we're in cahoots.
Because Rishi and them, man, are pretty much like, look, we're gonna investigate this further. We're gonna. And she's thinking, wait, what's going on there, man? Stop this nonsense.
I like that for her because that would piss me off. Like, if we had a plan to do something and then I'm here getting cooked and then you start releasing TMB statements about, oh, we're gonna investigate. What are you investigating when we did this?
What is she supposed to have done?
So basically, she was behind some contracts that got given to, I believe it's MedPro something, PPE.
Oh, PPE stuff.
Yeah, the MedPro company. And because of the contracts going through and all that type of stuff, right? Her husband, he stood to gain 60 million from that, right? And so it's locked up in the trust somewhere. So you know it's safe from the taxman and things like that.
Wait. She shouldn't say that. Rishi and them knew she was giving the husband a 60 million.
No. She's basically trying to say that them lot knew I was connected. So obviously, like she used the VIP lane to fast track that particular company.
Okay.
To get the contract.
Okay.
Knowing that if the company gets the contract,
her
husband will get 60 mils. Exactly.
But then the government wanted that contract. As in, did they want the med people to get the contract?
Well, the government didn't care as long as somebody's providing the PPE type thing. But the issue was something happened with the PPE. So the government's like, wait a minute,
she lost me.
Run the peas back. You know what I'm saying? So this is what.
Yeah, she lost me. She did that by herself.
But yeah, that's basically what happened.
That's funny.
And she was basically trying to say, wait a minute, don't come to me for the money because, like, when you guys got the PPE, it was fine. Plus, just because you don't need it no more, doesn't mean that we just taking it back and all that type of stuff in it. So it was just an internal nonsense about the PPE in it. And so obviously it came out, and 60 million pounds in profits from those contracts. So like she admitted the other day, if something happens to the husband, the money's hers and his kids and her kids, because I believe they got kids separately, and I'm not too sure they got kids together anyway. But yeah, long story short, 60 million pound in it. Next thing that I wanted to mention is TFL. They've been pestering the government for more funding, pretty much, innit? And long story short, they've got the funding. So 250 million pounds will be going to them next year to invest in new projects. There's going to be a new train on the Piccadilly line. Not too sure if you guys go on the Piccadilly line. It's a very noisy line.
I don't like it. It doesn't give me that one and
Victoria line.
No, I like Victoria. Victoria's calm. I like Victoria. Jubilee's my favourite one.
Okay.
Elizabeth was kind, but now that I know you start pissing on the couches, I don't know about that. Is it a Metropolitan one? There's one forgotten one.
I don't like them ones. Metropolitan,
there's ones,
Hammersmith.
They're just a bit
Circle line.
Yeah, I feel like they don't work properly. I don't know that they don't.
Yeah, and they take long to come. Yeah.
So I personally, if anything if what happened to Elizabeth line, in my mind, would have happened to me on one of those other funky ones. So yeah.
But yes, long story short, they got the 250 million. They're happy. They said they're grateful for the support and all that other stuff. They've been struggling basically to make ends meet since the pandemic. And the current emergency funding deals from the Department for Transport were due to end in March. So obviously they're super happy that this new amount of money has been given to them. Adobe, Brent, you know about what everyone knows about Adobe. But Adobe does Photoshop, they do Acrobat, all them type of things, their PDFs and all that type of stuff. That particular company, they're in a situation now with one of these watchdogs, I believe it's the CMA. Yeah, so the UK's Competition and Markets Authority. And they pretty much revealed earlier that Adobe's backing out of a deal, and because of that, they're going to be fined. It's a complex situation, but long story short, it's one of these things where it's like they don't want certain companies to have a monopoly in the market, right? And so they're kind of stopping the acquisition of certain companies. Similar thing that happened with Microsoft and is it Activision, Brent? Is it Activision? Something like that, right? Yeah. So similar type of thing. And so there were certain hoops that Adobe feels like they're being forced to jump through. And they're like, listen, we're not interested in this nonsense. This merger that with Figma, which is the designer platform, which is going to be worth $20 billion, they've abandoned it now. They're like, look, we're done with this nonsense. Yeah. And it's caused some back and forth and some uproar, man. Once I get a bit more information, if you know, and it's what do you call it? It's relevant, I will obviously tell you guys. But pretty much, long story short, because of them backing out of the deal, there's a termination fee of $1 billion, which is going to be payable to Figma. You know what I'm saying? The company that they were going to be merging with. And I guess they were more than happy to do that rather than continue with this nonsense. And the last thing I wanted to mention is, Boots, they're expected to launch an AI personal shopper. So yeah, I'm not too sure how this AI is going to be integrated into the shopping of right. But essentially, the gist of it is, you can ask, instead of you having to go in store, or maybe try and do all your Googles and things of that nature, you can just ask the AI shopper what's best for you, if that makes sense. So what lipstick does this, perhaps?
Yeah,
what
because I was
toner
going to
does
ask,
this?
that's one my question. What is being sold in Boots that requires an AI? Baby wipe should I get? Don't be silly. Because baby wipe can get out.
So yeah,
they must have had a good profit year.
I'm so glad you said it. Because the reality is they did. So basically they were looking to close some 300 of its shops. Why? Because there was a super increase in online sales. It's like, cool, everyone's buying online. Why do we need to waste money on these shops that no one's really going into? But this year they reported an increase in all their sales pretty much, man. I believe it was sales on boots.com was up 25% compared to the previous 12 months, and it accounted for 14% of all retail sales. At the same time, the footfall increased 7% from the third quarter last year to this year. Overall, Boots UK's their sales grew 10.2%. So it was just positives and pluses all over the place.
Well, that fancy money.
There you go. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're going to be working alongside. Well, I believe they've started working with ChatGPT, their owners, OpenAI, for a while now. But yeah, they're going to be working with them to sort out this whole AI situation. So yeah, that's pretty much it,
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the People's Journal.
All right, let's get into our last... Do you want to say something, Brent?
Yes, please. Just reading out the results of the last poll.
Oh, yes.
My AI is the best ever.
Love that.
Is it delusional to expect change from a system that does not see us as equal? 44% say collective effort can drive change. 22% say too much division in our community. 20% say we need to work outside the system. And 11% say history shows change is unrealistic. Again, shout out to my AI. Much love forever.
Brent's AI, man.
Big up. There were some headlines that we kind of missed, I can go through them very quickly.
Yeah, just do all of them. Wrap it up.
Okay, so next headlines. President Abdul Fattah al-Sisi has become re-elected again in Egypt. He's won his third 6-year term. And guess how much of the vote he won? How much of the vote voted?
You say he's been elected again?
Yes.
So he's done this before?
So this is his third time now.
Third time? I would say about 85%.
85%?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very close, man. 89.6%.
Look at that.
I was going to say 86.
Close, man. You don't say it.
Before you even said that, I swear that, that's what I was going over.
Yeah, man. The former army chief beat 3 low-profile candidates, with the runner-up securing only 4.5%. Can you imagine? How can a runner-up get 4.5%? This is a
that's
joke.
Crazy.
So the leading opposition candidate, Ahmed Tantawi, he had pulled out months before their last week's poll, claiming intimidation and violence against his campaign camp. Egypt's faltering economy and the war in Gaza were key electoral issues. Mr. Sisi, who's the new president again, who's 69, he first became president in 2014. This was a year after he had led the military's overthrow of his Islamist predecessor, Mohammed Morsi. Mr. Sisi won again in 2018. The victory in the latest election means that he'll be in power until 2030. Can you imagine when he's officially barred by the constitution from running again? So that's the total cap for presidents in Egypt. So under his leadership, huge sums of money have been spent on big infrastructure projects. Roads have been expanded and flyovers built, and a new capital costing billions of dollars has been constructed near Cairo, but is barely inhabited. Critics say that obviously all of this type of spending has drained much of the country's economic resources and created unprecedented levels of debt that have crippled the economy. Next headline, trigger warning here, guys. And one of the world's harshest anti-homosexuality laws is being challenged in the Ugandan courts by rights groups. The law has caused global outrage, with the World Bank halting new loans to Uganda and the US imposing visa restrictions on key officials. Anyone convicted of being involved in homosexual acts faced life imprisonment under the law, which was enacted in May. Rights groups have asked judges to annul the law, arguing that it violated the right to equality and dignity. The government is defending the case in the Constitutional Court, saying that the law protects traditional family values. Known as the Anti-Homosexuality Act, the law imposes the death penalty for so-called aggravated cases, which include having gay sex with somebody below the age of 18 or where someone is infected with a lifelong illness such as HIV. An overwhelming majority of lawmakers voted for it in Parliament, and it came into effect after the President, Museveni, approved it. So yeah, that's that situation. The next thing is, and this would have been a good thing to even mention while Sayce was here, or kind of anyway, but long story short, a misconduct hearing has heard that a trainee police officer asked to be passed a mannequin of a black child. Why? So he can stamp on his head.
What?
This was happening in the training. Imagine.
No, it says he's training.
Not at all. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Adam Brown made a comment during a first aid training session just weeks into his career at West Yorkshire Police in September of 2022. Mr. Brown, who denied making the comment but did not attend the misconduct proceedings, resigned from the force in the March of the following year. But a panel found the allegation proven and concluded that he would have been sacked had he been employed. So yeah, this is what people do in training, you know.
That's sick.
Yeah, the sickness.
When you think about it though, like for you to be in training, so he hadn't been hired yet.
Nope. But yeah, not. He's been hired, but I guess he's still
probation time. Yeah. But think about it, like what culture must be going on there for him to feel confident enough to be able to do that, and not feel like I should put my best foot forward while I'm still in probation.
Mad.
Sicko.
Mad. To be fair though, the other people apparently snitched and said, yeah, it's true. You know what I'm saying? But you know, these people are criminals anyway. Next headline, state media report and trigger warning as well. I'm not too sure if you guys heard about what happened in China, where at least 116 people have been killed and another 220 injured following an earthquake yesterday night in the northwest of China. Chinese authorities said that a 6.2 magnitude quake struck Gansu province around midnight and also affected neighboring Qinghai. Thousands of rescuers are braving freezing conditions to try and help people in the high altitude area. A second quake struck neighboring Xinjiang hours later on Tuesday as well. The damage from that 5.5 magnitude strike was not immediately clear. Next headline takes us to Guinea Conakry, where unfortunately, trigger warning, a huge explosion at the main oil terminal has killed at least 8 people and wounded dozens. This according to officials. The explosion blew out the windows of nearby houses in downtown Conakry, and hundreds of residents fled the area. The authorities have ordered schools and areas in the city to close and urge workers to stay at home. The explosion was caused by a fire. It's unclear what started the blaze, but yeah, that's basically what happened. Media reports of number of people injured vary from 84 to 100 people. And our last headline, trigger warning here, guys. Russell Brand, he's been questioned again by the Met Police man for the second time in relation to a further 6 allegations of historical sex offences. It's understood that he was interviewed under caution on the 14th of December. An investigation by the Sunday Times, the Times, and the Channel 4 dispatches show revealed allegations of rape, sexual assaults, and emotional abuse against the British comedian and actor. Brand previously denied the claims. The Met said that a man in his 40s attended a police station in South London on 14th of December. He was first questioned by the police on the 16th of November over 3 other claims. Obviously, we spoke about that. The Force said that the man has now been questioned in relation to 9 alleged offences. It said that inquiries were still continuing. And that's it for the headlines, guys. It's time to pay the bills.
Thank you very much. Let's get into the reaction.
Have we done the last?
Yeah, I did all of it.
Good.
Welcome to the reaction, people, where I'll read off your sports headlines for you. Did you react to the weekend's results?
I didn't. I was looking forward for you being here, but I knew you were doing excellence in was it women?
He's out here saying things out, man.
Yeah, man, just working, just trying, baby.
This is it. You look good on stage.
Thank you, man.
Your head looked very good.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
That don't sound right. I want to clarify that.
Why? That's a garment on your head. That is it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This one's smooth. Still.
Smooth, right?
It looks really. That's a
It's
sick one,
It's hard, isn't it?
A little
It's an exclusive, by the way.
I got you.
It's an exclusive.
Is this an exclusive?
Yes.
Yeah.
No one in the streets, no one got this in it.
It's the first of its kind, baby.
Come on, man. All I need is a stage guard.
It's so silly, man. You're not okay.
But it was a good weekend. Y'all did well. Y'all are back. Y'all are back. Y'all are back. I did not expect it. I never expected it.
That is funny. I mean, I suppose we could take. I don't even know what we could take from it. We didn't get battered, did it? So that's all right. Don't ask no a favour.
There were moments when it is that you could have clinched it, though.
Yeah, but they didn't really play good, did they?
No, they didn't. But that's not on you.
No, I mean, we didn't really play good.
But that's kind of... I think y'all played better than everybody expected, so...
I mean, they controlled the whole game. They were just...
What's that saying you normally say? Water always finds its level.
I don't understand the reference.
It's good that you stopped the rot. Who's the next game?
West Ham, innit?
Ooh.
West Ham away. It's tough.
It is. Kudos is playing very well.
And what's your next game? Liverpool.
We played well against Brighton.
They need a reaction.
Who,
The usual
Liverpool?
did.
Yeah, we played very well against Brighton.
Done them over. Kai.
Yeah. Yeah. He's turning heads.
Doing his things. He's doing his things still.
Yeah, he's getting better and better. Arteta is a special type of manager. I'm just saying nobody else expected it.
How? I told you he's got the vision.
Yeah, is that what you said? That Arteta would basically be able to bring out a good player in Kai Havertz? Is that what you were saying?
I told you that you got a good player when you signed him anyway.
Yeah.
And I've been telling you that for a little while that obviously even when you've been cussing Kai Havertz that he's kind of like vital to what
Chelsea was doing.
to what Arteta wants to do.
Oh,
Arteta wants to play.
Okay.
You know what he wants from his number 8
All
and
right.
stuff like that. You get
So
me?
you called it twice now, Rice, Kai Havertz. Got any more?
Arsenal gonna win the league?
What? All right.
Are you there yet?
All right. No.
No?
Not yet. Let's see what we do on the weekend.
Boy, if you beat Liverpool, the closest contenders.
I hope they play like how they played against you. But I don't think they're going to do that.
How? They had 30-something shots on goal. They were just unlucky.
I'm not sure if they were unlucky.
No, you got to do it, innit? But obviously, they got a point to prove.
Yeah, they do.
Where is it at Anfield as well?
Anfield.
Got a point to prove, man. They're going to drop points 2 games in a row. But we'll see, innit?
Is it? Is that what you think?
We'll see. I think this is Useless League now, man.
Is it?
Useless or Villa.
Villa?
You say what, Villa can't do it?
Nah, I'm not seeing that.
But
I'm not seeing that.
they beat Useless, so and they beat City. Undefeated at home. They turned it around against Brentford on the weekend. You never just the there and thereabouts. You get me?
Yeah, they're playing very well, but they had help to beat us. Don't do that.
What for the referees?
Yeah.
He's not gonna give over, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, it was an interesting weekend though.
The boxing was interesting. Was it boxing? Was it MMA?
The UFC.
The UFC. Somebody told me that there was more context with... No, there was somebody on Spotify leaving a comment. Whoever you are, shout you out. Apparently, his father was murdered.
Yeah.
The black guy. And that's what made that particular insult even more insensitive.
Oh, his dad got killed.
Yeah, murdered.
He said it in the ring, yeah, when he was speaking to Joe Rogan afterwards. Yeah.
I'm quite glad he won, man.
One-sided victory, man.
Oh, did he just batter him, yeah?
Yeah, easy. Disciplined fight, easy.
I see my man talking about he won 3 of the rounds and he didn't get them because he voted for Trump or something.
That guy
I ain't seen none of the fight still. I see it pop home. I think I might go home and watch it.
He was trying bollocks, man. He may have won I'll probably give him 1 round. That was it. They don't won 4 of them rounds, man.
Should have knocked him out, man.
Knock his lights out.
Oh, well. Well, anyway. I hate when he does this, man. Got a few sports headlines here for you lot to read. For you lot to listen to. Listen to me read. So, our first one was Sir Kenny Dalglish won a Lifetime Achievement Award. So, big up him. Celtic, Liverpool and Scotland legend Sir Kenny Dalglish will be honoured with the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. The 72-year-old won 8 league titles and 3 European Cups as a player and manager at Anfield after joining the club from the boys in 1977. Dalglish also led Blackburn to the title. Who also led Blackburn to the title is Scotland's most capped male player and joint record goal scorer. Receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award is truly an honour, he said. I have always believed in the importance of team success, and I wouldn't be where I am today without all the players I've played with and the people I've worked for and supporters that stood by me. So this is for them. Glasgow-born Dalglish began his career at Celtic, where he won 4 Scottish League titles before Liverpool paid a then British record fee of $440,000 to sign him. In his first season with the Merseyside club, he scored 31 goals, including the only goal in the 1978 European Cup final against Burgess at Wembley. He will go on to win a further 2 European Cups and 5 league titles before becoming a player manager at the age of 35 in May 1985. Well, what's our next headline is Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda set to co-host the 2024 edition of the CHAN finals? Yes, so Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda are set to co-host the 2024 African Nations Championship, or CHAN, subjected to successful stadium inspections. In September, the East African neighbours were awarded the right to stage the 2027 African Cup of Nations, which will be the first time in history the 3 countries will deliver the continental showpiece. The joint hosts will provide 1 stadium to host CHAN next year, with a 4th venue in Zanzibar, according to Wallace Correa, the president of the Council of East and Central African Football Associations. BBC Sport Africa understands Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda are yet to officially submit which stadiums will be used to the Confederation of African Football. Algeria hosted the delayed 2022 CHAN in January and February this year, with the finals going ahead with 17 teams after Morocco withdrew because of dispute over travel arrangements. There we go. Shit. And in our last headline...
Oh, can I just mention, because I didn't know about this CHAN thing, right? Basically, it's a competition where the participating nations must consist of players that are playing in their national league competitions. So none of the abroad...
Oh, is it?
Yeah, solely people that are playing in their national leagues in their countries.
That makes sense why I ain't heard of that. That's good, though.
Yeah, it is.
I suppose. Big up there. When's that taking place? January? This is what we said, right?
Yes, January and February.
Okay. Let's keep you abreast of that situation over there. And our last headline is Frank Warren disappointed Australian forced to vacate IBF cruiserweight belt. So Frank Warren says it's ridiculous for the IBF to strip Jai Opetaia of his cruiserweight title before his fight with Eddie Zorro. Warren promotes Zorro, who is scheduled to fight Opetaia on the undercard of the Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder bout in Saudi Arabia on Saturday. Oh yeah, it's a big weekend we got coming up, innit?
Yep.
It's a massive weekend of sport, you know.
Crazy card.
Oh, but Monday's Christmas.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to Zoom me if you want to talk about that.
Are you taking my house coming in?
Well, Opetaia 28 told Main Event TV he had been forced to vacate his belt as Zorro is not the IBF's #1 contender. It's very short-sighted of the IBF if they go down this road, Warren said. Everybody on board, including the #1 mandatory challenger, Marius Bridis. Why is What's my shit moving for? Are you typing? Who's doing this?
Was you, man?
What?
Oh, the way you was laughing
Because I know nobody's typing.
It just jumped.
That's dyslexia, bro. That's diagnosed in real time.
Imagine.
It jumped. Listen, everybody on board, including the number one challenger, were all happy for it to take place. The veteran promoter told BBC Sport. But you know what? The fight is going on. Everybody knows who he is. They know he's considered to be the best at his weight out there. So we'll just get on with it and the fight will happen. It's too big a fight not to happen. It's too big an opportunity for the fighters not to fight. And yeah, man, that's the end of our sports headlines. We apparently have no Dana Air candidates today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You thinking?
I can't see it.
I thought you were thinking of somebody.
I was. Who, you got something with me?
No, didn't it? Hold on a second.
All right.
What have you got for me, man? Who's done at air in the world today, man? It's the end of the year, man. Somebody's got to be done at air.
There's a done air that I wanted you to say for Friday, man.
I swear.
It's insane. It's insane.
Because you think that we are going to have guests on Friday?
No, just for the last day, innit? Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, save it. We can go over a bang. Why? Have we not got a guest on Friday?
Who is it supposed to be? Have we packed up? One job, man. One job.
Oh, we spoke about that yesterday, though.
Yeah, we did.
Did they agree to it?
Weren't you supposed to basically ask them? But did we agree to it? You know who's coming in tomorrow? And that's why I was like, the question that Sayce is asking the next guest is the historian.
Yes.
Yeah, but what is the question again? What's he doing?
To uplift the community.
Or to what's the question again? To fight back against the current oppression that we're living in as a system or something. That's not, was it? Just knowing history doesn't mean he's doing any of that shit.
You will find out what it is he's doing.
Is he activist?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe you.
Yeah, he's had particular threats. Yeah.
On his life?
Yeah.
For whistleblowing? Or like unveiling?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's interesting.
In his home country.
What's his home country?
You'll find it tomorrow. All right, no, it's just the voice. You'll find it tomorrow.
That'd be good. Yeah. Are you getting ready to challenge any of his historical points?
No, not really.
You're just gonna let him land.
A couple of people have sent me some really great questions to ask him because apparently they don't think that Iman's going to be up for it. This is their words, not mine.
I'm not gonna be up for what?
Asking him proper questions.
Why?
Emmanuel, just a messenger.
What's this about? We're doing a debating.
People, imagine, yeah. People are. I know what's happening.
We're just talking about tomorrow's guest.
Ah. So people don't think you're capable. That's crazy.
They're trying to do the Jedi mind trick on me. They want me to come. They want me to come out. They want me to come out blazing.
We almost.
You know what I'm saying?
We almost didn't get that fantastic back and forth with capitalism versus socialism. We almost didn't get it because you were just with everything you were saying. So I don't know, man. There might be some credence to what they're saying.
All right, we'll see, man.
Might have to be poked.
Huh?
What?
Sorry,
pause.
Yeah,
Come on,
grow
up,
pause
man.
that, man.
God damn.
Well, that'll be interesting. We still didn't discuss any Dana candidates. What's that about?
No, I just wanted to give enough time.
I put a few in there. I put a few in there.
Oh, what? Just like that? Like magic?
Just like
That's what I'm
that.
saying. You might imagine I did this. I could do this tomorrow and I'll just be winning. But don't take it easy on you guys, man.
So that pure evil is for Friday.
Yeah.
Woman.
Sorry, why? What? What's pure evil?
I don't know. I ain't
What
seen
she
it. I
did?
ain't clicked
The
it.
last one.
Yeah, that's
Why
what
is it for Friday?
Because it's the last one.
Yeah, it's for the last day. To be fair, yeah. Like
First of all, let me click the link and see what you're talking about. Otherwise, I will do it today. You're not gonna set me up. Some
to
bullshit.
be fair, yeah. I just find it like evil because I just thought, come on, man, why would you do this to somebody?
Yeah, so why do you want to end the year on that note?
Okay, cool. You know what?
So wait.
You know what?
You wanted the year to end, yeah, and you wanted that to be the last thing people hear from TDA for 2023.
No, do you know what it is? I wanted it to be like one of the worst done at candidates, and to me, I think she's one of them.
Oh, okay, fair
there
enough.
was no remorse.
Yeah, but that's also a trigger warning, a massive trigger warning there.
But do you want to do it?
Who's doing it? It's not my segment. I already did mine.
You know,
no, I can do it. I'm saying,
you
do
might
you
as well
want me
do
to?
it, you know?
No.
Yeah, you might as well, man.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, since we're here.
I just don't think that, going out the year with such a heavy. I think we should have a fun one on Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
to
you
be
should do
fair,
it.
yeah, that's good. Brent, you're gonna have to play the video, you know.
Yeah, cool. People are asking for end of year TDA awards on Friday.
Are they gonna give us categories? Because I can't keep thinking. I've checked out, I've checked, like, my brain is done. I've clocked out. If they give us categories, that'd be fun.
Which one am I pressing?
Number 3.
Number 3. All right. Cool.
If they drop the categories on Twitter,
Clean up the infection.
This is what you want to finish the year on,
bro. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I have an interesting relationship with that woman. I don't know if I like her or not.
I ain't seen this, so
there's a lot.
Just that headline looks a bit.
I hope she cooks at least.
You ready, Brent?
Yeah, we're just letting them read the headline.
Trigger warning. Sorry, trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning. I had to remove the live ticker.
Oh, okay.
No, it's back. Cool. All right.
We're going to tell the truth. Mr. Monzel, in your lie detector test, you were asked, did you have any sexual contact with any of your 3 daughters? You said no. And the lie detector said there was no deception.
Yes, thank God.
How does that feel for you? And that your daughters know it?
Well, I felt they always did know it.
You felt they always did know it?
Mm-hmm.
And didn't speak it because?
They didn't know no better. They wasn't told no different.
Miss Yvonne took a lie detector test and said, did you make up or exaggerate any stories with the intention to harm Monzel? She responded no, and the answer was deceptive. Then he asked you, did you say something to the effect of, I'm going to make sure you're never happy again? She responded no, and the answer was deceptive. So Miss Yvonne has acknowledged that her story about you touching your children in a sexual way was not true. So, Miss Yvonne, is there anything that you wanted to say to Mr. Monzel?
Why didn't you fight for him harder? If you knew
What?
Yo, when this is finished, I want to talk directly to Black Rob and Kevin. Straight to their eyes. Yeah?
I'll be honest, nothing could have prepared me for that.
We talking about forgiveness.
Nothing could have prepared me for that.
Talk straight to
Nothing
them.
could have prepared me for that. I thought she was going to be like, I was expecting the best speech I'm about to hear, and I'm thinking, like, he has a right to what?
Can you imagine?
I said, why did you fight for them harder, you know?
But she was ready to. Is that more?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Can we
do it?
I need to know.
What is it that he could have said that would have made you not believe the lie you were telling?
Wow.
No,
What a way
read
to
you for
put it.
filth.
Wow.
She can read you for filth.
Miss Yvonne, you told the lie. It was a lie, and you told it. And you gotta own it.
I'm sorry. I need you to say that you did not rape your girls. I need to hear it come out your mouth the way I've always heard it, Ma.
I apologize for accusing you of raping them.
Please forgive me. You don't have to forgive her. You don't have to.
No.
I cannot accept your apology because it's not sincere. Deep down, I know that you didn't believe that. You knew I had no sexual desires for my children. For 25 years, this thing has broken me.
Oh.
You don't know. It has affected my life in ways I can't even count. The things that you did. This is not no game. This is these children's lives. And it's just a demon in you that you need to deal with.
You gotta sue her. Like, you gotta sue her for every single thing where she's begging on the streets, and even the things that she gets given on the streets, you take that too. That's mad. So you should have fought for them harder.
Can you imagine? You should have fought for them harder because you know it wasn't true. What?
Yeah, that's
She's
sick,
a
man.
demon. These are the
That's
people they need. Let me just behave myself, man.
That's sick. That's sick. That's sick. Well, personally, then I he left the building. He was that outraged and that disgusted that he just thought, this is foolishness. Nah, she's mad for that though. She's mad for that. That's the kind of people that will be in the care home now. You come to tell me that because they're mother and they made sacrifices, I should be... No. Nope. I feel like the kids are not going to talk to her anymore. I wouldn't talk to her. I've got nothing to say to you.
Yeah, for real.
I can't speak to someone like that. That's mad. So people like that, when you see them old and lonely and shit, and you're out here feeling bad for them, she's just getting the day she deserves.
Forgive this man.
Nah, you just tell she's a horrible person. What did you want to speak to Black Rob and Kevin about?
They said, well, you tell them. Let me not speak on people. No. I'm trying to be better.
They had a problem with me suggesting that I can't look to judge somebody for not forgiving their absentee father or a relative that had abused them when they were younger. And I'm supposed to be a Christian.
Yeah, they were like,
so I should be leading.
They're like, oh, Iman's trying to convince Christians to forgive.
One second.
So dumb.
Wait. They had a problem that you said you couldn't...
As a Christian...
Yeah.
Obviously, I purport to be a Christian. Do you understand? I shouldn't be having the position where I'm not judging people for not forgiving those individuals that have abused them.
For not judging them or for judging them?
For not judging. I don't judge them. I said there are certain circumstances where I can't judge them for not forgiving them. Because there are different levels, there's different severities of abuse put onto these people.
And what they're saying, as a Christian man, you should be trying to make them forgive all the time.
100%.
They're saying they should be forgiving their abusers and stuff. You're saying.
Yeah, but they thought they ate when they said, "Oh, you're trying to convince Christians to forgive."
They had a moment.
They didn't even bang.
They had a moment.
Did they?
A prolonged moment.
Debatable.
So wait, are they saying that you should be forgiven or you shouldn't, or they shouldn't be forgiven?
I don't even think they're even saying that. I just think they
were just looking to point to me and possibly Esther as the Christians in the room.
No, they weren't. They categorically, because you know I'm not in the chat no more. Exiled. I don't exile their ass. But they categorically said, because Iman was basically saying, not necessarily forgive, but he was basically bringing up different scenarios of why it is that you might not forgive your parents, blah, blah. And I have the same stance as Brent. And so they were saying, oh, they tried to come on a funny tip of LOL. Iman's out here convincing Christians to forgive. And it's like, okay, you thought you did something, you didn't.
Yeah.
So let me see you forgive that woman.
These are examples I'm saying. Do you understand? I can't get on to this man for not forgiving her. I can't.
Exactly.
It's impossible for me to do that. Whomst?
That's mad.
No,
whomst. Whomst.
Yeah, you shouldn't forgive that woman. She's a horrible woman.
That's crazy, man.
You can just see she's bitter.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think that's what people need to understand that, like men and women, that someone can be a good parent without them being a good partner to you. Like, so someone's capable of being a good father without being capable, I didn't say it's always the case, but capable of that. And same with men who, when they have a baby mom, they feel like that's a baby mom for life. No, it's not. You guys don't work together in a relationship, but they can still be a good mother. Anyway, when I talk now, people say you're all healed and resurrected and shit, so have the Christmas you deserve, that's all I can say. But yeah.
That woman was done her. She pissed me off.
Her and her wig. Don't know here because I was got a wig of a liar. Hate to see it.
I don't know why the daughters didn't beat her up, man. Should have battered her. Someone should have kicked her upside her head for that. Why would you even make up an excuse like that? You know, I can't even get into that. Yeah, why would you just want to end the show on such a horrible note?
I said to keep it on Friday, you know.
No, because
what's your thought process?
It's almost like, in my head, I was thinking, who's been more deserving of being in Tanzania than this animal?
There's more people.
Than this one?
I might be biased, but...
She's up there, man.
Yeah, man, she's
up there.
On the worst ever.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
Well, she's definitely done it here, man.
100%.
Out my head. Let's get into our outro, please.
All right, people. Thank you for tuning in. Big up our lovely, lovely guests today who joined us. Make sure you check out Mentivity. And if you need to contact them directly to make donations, let's bypass all them commission-based platforms and shit. But big up Sayce. It's Sayce, isn't it?
Sayce.
Why do I say Sayce as if it's an accent on the E? Sayce, big up Sayce. And big up you guys as well, everyone that's tuned in. I hope you guys have been liking the video. If you haven't yet, don't forget to as you leave. So please like the video, subscribe to our channel as well. Do all that great stuff. Share this with people. Important, great conversations being had. Big up our callers today. Big up Ed. Big up Christy. Big up Felicity. I believe her name was Felicity, right?
I don't know.
The first caller. I think she said her name was Felicity. But big up you, girl.
Big her up.
Follow us on our social media platforms, The Day After TNB, on Instagram, Twitter, and on TikTok. And if you want to send your dilemmas in, the number is 075 64841073. Also the number to call when we're live on air. Brent.
I'm gonna come up with some categories for awards.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I just saw a comment. I'm like, yep, I need to.
I got you.
Yeah. I'll try and make it a thing also soon. Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. So that's Friday's show.
Yeah.
Round up.
Yeah. I round up.
The TDA wrap up.
Yeah.
Love that. And like we said, we've got guests. We've got people come here all week. It's a busy week over here. Like, it's a very busy week. So tune in tomorrow, of course. I feel like this is going to be one of the most interesting shows there might be. You out here talking about the best tonight. Tomorrow might be the best. Best interviews. Is that going to be an interview segment?
No, I think just top
of the day situation.
Yeah.
Okay, well, guys, tune in. Tune in, get your popcorn ready. I'm going to have some snacks. So make sure you do too. And if you want to inquire about the show or feature on the show, our email address is thedayafter@thenewblack.com. Have a great Tuesday.
Yeah, and if any of y'all want to kind of help me compile the categories, please either send messages via Instagram DMs. You can send a tweet via X in our community.
You can DM email. I know some of you want to hide what you want to say.
Or you can just message the phone, the WhatsApp.
Yes, you can text and stuff like that, isn't it? Yeah. So you have the number, and Twitter and Instagram is the day after TNB. But that's gonna be really fun. I'm looking forward to that actually. That'll be really, really cool. So
all right,
let's have it, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Have a nice Tuesday.
Peace.